called me a scanner. What does that mean?
Freak of nature, born with a certain form of ESP, derangement of the synapses, which we call the Neon Crew Podcast.
Nice.
Thank you.
Very well done.
What's funny is, in my actual notes that I have written down in front of me, I forgot to replace the word that I wanted to replace with Neon Crew Podcast. The word being telepathy. And I just, off the cuff, on the fly, so to speak.
Nice. Scanned it.
On the fly, David Cronenberg.
Okay.
David Cronenberg
You're
directed
getting
Fly.
way too deep on jokes. You're starting to...
I'm getting them all out of the way so we can have a very serious discussion
that won't
afterwards.
happen.
What are you talking about? This is a very straightforward show with no quips or puns or wordplay of the sort. Nothing silly. All serious.
Yeah.
This is Neon Crew Podcast, presented by NPR.
We need to... We're bringing back ads.
Yeah, we're bringing back
not even
ads.
bringing back. We're bringing ads. I'm gonna start writing up ads to do on this.
I was say I don't think we've ever had them before.
No,
we can't bring them back if they've never been here.
No, but they're coming.
Hell yeah, I would love it. Honestly, if you wanted to like write some copy,
I'm going. I think I'm going to that we just throw in here whenever like we're into the next segment.
Yeah,
like I think I'm gonna. I got a couple that I've been like brewing that I just need to get out.
I would honestly love it.
Yeah,
like, that would be
we'll start
dope.
doing it.
Hell yeah! Welcome everybody to episode 112 of the Neon Crew Podcast. My name is Kyle.
I'm Mac.
We got some news, and by news I mean the 2026 Oscar nominations were released. We know what was nominated.
Yes, we do.
We have a good understanding of what the lineup is.
Good understand. Yes.
So, in preparation for our upcoming inevitable Oscars episode, in which we will talk about all 10 Best Picture nominees, I figured we could go over some of the more pertinent categories.
Okay.
Get our first impressions, some reactions, because I know I've gone over the categories,
like you have
and the nominations. Yeah, locked away.
Yes, you've read it so much.
Nice and tight.
Has anything changed? Is Leo on there?
I'm not even looking at pictures or anything. I'm just going off the dome. That's a lie. I'm not that smart. But I don't think you know all of the like.
I don't know any
nominees.
of them besides. I think I could name the 10 best pictures.
Right. So that's the one that we'll start off with.
Okay.
So for Best Picture, and this is in alphabetical order like always, we have Bugonia, F1, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, The Secret Agent, Sentimental Value, Sinners, and Train Dreams. Yeah, I think you and I sort of had a similar, because we were talking about this before we recorded, a similar reaction of F1 being the sort of outlier.
Yeah, I've not seen it, so I can't sit here and, go like, oh, for sure shouldn't be on there, but like just from what I've heard.
Right. But we were thinking like of all the like sort of crowd pleaser, like popular movie choices that they could have slotted in there. F1 was an interesting one that raised a few eyebrows.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I mean, I think this list, shapes up, makes sense to me. The only one that I still need to see is The Secret Agent.
Yep.
That one's going to be tough to track down, I think. But nevertheless, it'll be part of the fun of getting to discuss these movies.
It's always part of the fun. Going out of pocket.
Just like getting real nasty with it,
Yeah.
Real scrappy.
Yeah. When you think about all the costs associated with trying to see one film, oil, gas, money.
Yeah. Concessions.
Food. Yeah. All of it.
Renting prices on streaming.
Yeah. To talk about it for 25 minutes.
The actual price of the streaming service if you forget to, cancel your subscription after the free week trial.
Yep.
Everything.
Have not had that one happen yet. I think maybe like once, but not necessarily for movie purposes.
You know what you should do? You should track all of the transactions and then give them to me, and then I can try to see if we can get like, a tax write-off on it.
Yes.
Even though the show makes no money.
Yeah, the hobby, going back to tax days.
Yeah.
We call it a hobby loss because people used to... if you wanted to reduce your and here's for everyone that's working on their 10, the 1040s out there. If you wanted to reduce your income back in the day, they'd spend money, right? And then they'd write it off and say it was a business prop that just didn't work, and you'd have all these incurred expenses, and it would go against your net income to reduce that tax liability. And the government, I don't know when they caught on, but they figured out, all right, if you're not making money or this isn't like a reasonable business, it's just a hobby loss.
Yeah.
And if you want to do that, you could always file a Schedule A, and see if that helps you out in terms of getting away from whatever the standard deduction is. So back to movies, Kyle.
Yes, thank you. Totally understood everything you just said. So the next category, Best Director.
Oh, here we go.
Chloe Zhao for Hamnet.
Uh-huh.
Josh Safdie for Marty Supreme.
Yes.
PTA, Paul Thomas Anderson, for One Battle After Another.
Yep.
Joachim Trier for Sentimental Value. And Ryan Coogler for Sinners.
Okay.
Any thoughts as to like any sort of predictions or like?
No, I still kind of sit in the boat that normally it's usually clean sweeps.
Yeah.
Unless there's like
we should mention that Sinners broke the record for most nominations a movie could get. 16 in total.
Beat out Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I think Lord of the Rings was up there. I want to say there was like another movie that was above that.
Could be.
Because the gap between this one and the other one was like 14 to 16. So
interesting.
And there's a new category this year.
Yeah, casting.
Yep.
Which I from the movies I've seen, Marty Supreme.
We'll talk about it when we get to it.
Yeah.
Best Actor.
Okay.
Timothy Chalamet, Marty Supreme.
Of course.
Leonardo DiCaprio, One Battle.
Of course.
Ethan Hawke, Blue Moon, a movie I have not seen yet.
I've heard good things.
I think it's on Netflix, so I think we could just throw it on.
Is it?
I thought so. I mean, I might be wrong.
I thought it was just out in theaters like a couple weeks ago.
I mean, I did
could be
not,
on Netflix. Who knows?
I did not see it in theaters at all. But then again, I don't know how much traction the movie itself got. Michael B. Jordan for Sinners. Excuse me. Got a little choked up and emotional.
Did he also get nominated for Best Supporting Actor?
He should have been. Would that be a co-lead thing? Like, just nominate him twice in the same category?
What's going on? What one are you picking? Is that Stacks or is that...
Yeah, if you could only nominate one character performance in Sinners, which one would you pick?
Stacks.
Smoke or Stack? Okay.
Stacks, the one that gets it on with Haley Steinfeld?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or Haley Allen now, maybe?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
A little sports reference for you fans out there.
Yeah, there we go. Sport ball. Yeah, I'd probably go with him over Smoke. Now, Smoke had a little bit more sentiment going on. He had a little bit more emotionality.
But Smoke is also like I mean, we won't spoil Sinners.
Right.
So I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, we don't have to get any more into it. They're brothers, they're twins, right?
Yes.
And one of them's a little bit more nefarious than the other one, and that's I think usually because like the heel's always easy, and they're both good. Like
Right.
I don't want to give anything away on that regard, but like one is more nefarious than the other.
And it's fun. It's fun to be the little stinker.
Yeah.
And then finally to cap it off, Wagner Moura for The Secret Agent, which haven't seen the movie yet, but I like Wagner Moura.
And I do too. That's why I think I'm high on seeing the film.
Yeah.
And just the synopsis that I read on IMDb, I was like, all right, this could be a little bit more actiony than I'm still here. So I keep going back to that, but
can like kind of sink your teeth into, or that you can at least see yourself doing
enjoying.
I'm being a little fancy with it, but that's fine. Best Actress.
Okay.
Jessie Buckley for Hamnet. Rose Byrne for If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. Kate Hudson for Song Sung Blue. Renee Reinsve, don't know how to exactly pronounce that name.
Got it.
For Sentimental Value. And then Emma Stone for Bugonia. Anytime Emma Stone is in a movie with Yorgos, the Academy's like, yes, gotta send it her way. Nominate her.
Keep those nominations coming.
Keep it rolling,
she
baby.
She was like good in that. I
mean, she's great in it. I think it's
enough to get nominated. It's just, yeah.
It's one of those things where like, was there maybe room for someone else in here?
Well, at what point do you get to like Meryl Streep? Like she'd get nominated every year. Like if she was in a film, she got nominated, and it's like, all right. And maybe it's like the Tom Brady thing, going back to sports. But like, you get to the fourth Super Bowl, right? Like, at what point does it become even greater, or are you just seeing more of the same? But at that token, even if it's monotonous, you're still watching a 10 above a 7 go at it. So.
Yeah, it'd be one thing if like I watched her in Begonia and was like, yawn, honk, shoe, boring, boo, get off the stage. But it's like, you also can't deny that she's electric in that movie.
She's good. I mean, she fucking.
I mean, I think Plemons is like my favorite part of that whole thing.
Yeah, he has a lot more of a tightrope to walk than she does, I think.
Yeah, I would agree. Best Supporting Actor, Benicio del Toro for One Battle.
That's it.
Jacob Elordi for Frankenstein. Delroy Lindo for Sinners. Sean Penn for One Battle. And Stellan Skarsgård for Sentimental Value.
You gotta see that Sentimental Value.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's in a lot of different categories, not just performances either. I think it's Benicio's.
I would hope so, but
just because I'm thinking they already have given Sean Penn 2 Oscars, and I think that Benicio del Toro is like the sort of like conversation of that movie of like, yeah, we all know Sean Penn in it is great, but he's like playing a caricature.
Yeah.
Whereas Benicio is like, with the little that he gets to work with, he makes it very memorable.
I mean, like you're talking that film and like you're quoting his lines.
Yeah.
Right?
Few Small Beers is going to be, living in my hippocampus for some time. Even though I don't drink at all. Best Supporting Actress. Elle Fanning for Sentimental Value. I'm going to try my best with this, so bear with me. Inga Instauter Lilius for Sentimental Value.
Yep.
Amy Madigan for Weapons, the one and only Weapons. Shout out.
Amy Madigan.
Yeah. Wonmi Mosaku for Sinners, and then Tiana Taylor for One Battle After Another.
Amy Madigan.
I would love to see that, especially since it's the only category that Weapons is in.
That's like a career tribute award to her. And I don't even know if she's been in a whole lot of stuff.
I could easily, now that you say that, I could easily see it being like, long-spanning career. This is like, a sort of a tribute win for you.
Come on, and she's phenomenal. It's not even like it's like we're just throwing her in here. I mean, she's fantastic in that thing.
When she shows up, it like changes the whole dynamic of the movie for the better.
Yeah.
Like, not that it was in a bad place before, but just like, oh fuck yeah, this is what we're dealing with. It takes a step
in the right direction of becoming even more not ambiguous, but creepy. I can't think of like there's tension. The tension definitely gets elevated and I think that's hard because it's already a tense film.
And she's such a strong presence leading up to it, but in a way that you don't necessarily expect to have it expanded upon more when you're introduced to her. It's like, oh, who's this creepy fucking monster?
I mean, in that film up to and not giving anything, well, I guess I won't.
To be, to be considered. Best Original Screenplay.
Okay.
Blue Moon, Sinners, Sentimental Value, Marty Supreme. It Was Just an Accident.
That's so funny because it was just an accident. I don't know what happened. I caught this on something. It's on my watch list. And now all of a sudden I can't, like, I see previews everywhere for it.
Yeah.
Like catch it streaming.
I thought this was going to make Best Picture. The way that people were talking about it, I put it in my predictions.
Really?
It was one of the ones that I was wrong on. Yeah.
I have not. I've just. Yeah, I've been seeing previews of it, and I'm like, I think I recognize the poster. Or like, there's a certain scene.
It's like a vehicle. It's like a van that a bunch of characters are hanging out around.
Yeah, and I'm like, I think this is. So I don't know anything about it.
I think it's an Iranian film.
Yeah. And this is Best Original Screenplay?
Yes.
Interesting. I can't believe that they're not going adapted for Marty Supreme.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how it got into that category, considering that it is loosely based on a real person who did have a written work about them.
That, say, after you read and was like, oh, this is a character.
Yeah. Oh, this would be a great movie if I just, plucked this guy and made it my own thing.
Yeah, so I mean, you kind of have some source material,
and
there.
usually like they're pretty strict on that as like a rule. Like if you get this thing from anywhere, it's adapted automatically, like given that stamp.
And it might just, I mean, literally they might have just went, yeah, it's about it's no closer than naming another ping pong guy.
Yeah,
you know, but I mean, that's interesting. Sinners are Marty Supreme. I mean, for me.
Best adapted screenplay.
Okay.
Begonia, Frankenstein, Hamnet, One Battle, and Train Dreams.
Now I got to see. There's a bunch of films on there I still have to see. So
yeah. I mean, my guess is One Battle, just because PTA just made it so much his own thing, but like able to adapt it not only from the source material, but to have it resonate so much with, you know, current climate of things and like, you know, the idea of fascism and how it may or may not relate to things happening in the real world currently.
I was gonna say, I'm curious with some of the political climate going on, how much the Oscars decide to take a stance, and then that movie reaps the rewards.
You know? We'll see. I mean, it's going to be between that and Sinners, is my prediction. Do you want me to skip animated film? There's only 2 on here that I think you'll recognize.
I don't think we need to do all 26.
We won't do all 26. That's
probably
fine.
A couple more. I mean, we've hit the major ones.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'll jump to best casting since we talked about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if anything, because this is brand new.
Yeah, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle, The Secret Agent, and Sinners. Now you're putting your chips in for Marty Supreme.
I
think it's got a good chance, just because I mean the whole casting thing with the Safdie brothers. Their whole thing is like get people who are just these characters.
Yep.
Like, you know, not even actors necessarily, just like actual former criminals or like businessmen or, you know, sports people, whatever the fuck. And they managed to make it compelling and work. I mean, I think I might lean towards Sinners just a little bit, just because it is such an ensemble, but I think every piece of casting in that movie fits pretty well in terms of like, you know, where each piece needs to be. So
yeah, I'm not gonna. I mean, I don't. Yeah. This is a new one. I think I just like Marty Supreme a little bit more without having the name brand around all those people in there, and for how fantastic of a film it was.
Yeah.
You got to get a lot of people to do the right things. Not saying that they didn't in Sinners. Sinners is also good, and that's the first time I had seen Jack O'Connell.
Yeah.
So, you know,
we'll be talking about him later.
Oh, ooh. Yeah. So that's where I probably push my chips in that bin. But there's some good ones. One Battle is, I mean, like how your lead's Leo.
Yeah.
How much you know, and then but to get Benicio, a role from him like that, and from Sean Penn, you look at Marty Supreme, you look at the whole cast, and I'm like, I think it did better there. But if you look at One Battle in terms of getting, you know, the 4 players that you needed right, getting them right, really works. So it'll be interesting. And Sinners is in the same boat. There's a reason there's only 5, right?
Yeah. So I'll just list off categories, and you tell me whether or not you want me to read from them.
I do one more. We're 20 minutes into this thing.
That is
People
true.
are movies I haven't seen speaking on.
Okay. How about original score?
Okay. Yeah. Shout out to Gideon.
Yeah. Figured he'd appreciate this one. Begonia.
Okay.
Frankenstein. One Battle. Sinners. And Hamnet. Again, I feel like this is very much between One Battle and Sinners, especially since Sinners is so music focused anyway.
I don't know, man. Begonia was...
I mean, I like Begonia's score a lot. I think going up against those other 2 movies is not going to do it any favors.
Right.
Especially with like Johnny Greenwood's score in One Battle. I think it's honestly just between those 2, and every other nomination is like, yeah, you guys had some good music, but I mean, what can you do?
Yeah, I'm just going off Begonia because I know I put it in my head like hearing it, being like, this is really doing a good job adding to the tension to these scenes, because it's so much like a theater play.
Yeah,
you know,
God, the way that movie's framed is amazing.
Yeah, Yorgos knows what he's doing.
I'll be excited to talk about it come the Oscars episode.
Oh,
in, I don't know, probably like what, month and a half?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Speaking of movies, we watched a newly released film
Yes, we did.
in theaters, and I'm going to encourage people to go check it out before we talk about it, because one, it kind of needs your help at the box office, and two, I don't know, maybe it's something that you jive with. I'm, of course, talking about 28 years later, The Bone Temple. Mac, take it away.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the, 12.5 mil. But, it just came out.
Right now, it says it's at 46 million.
Yeah, it's doing okay.
I think people, there's like, we'll get into it, but there's a whole doomer perspective on this movie that I don't necessarily agree with.
Be interested to hear that. It was weird watching that and then to Begonia and just thinking about societal rot.
Yeah.
And having both those films back to back really make you like, what's going on with humanity?
God, yeah. Sorry, I'm just thinking about the end of Begonia.
It was both. I saw that and I didn't know what I was getting into, and then I'm watching Begonia and I was like, okay, like both these, like obviously in different worlds, kind of same trend line.
Yeah.
Right.
Same view of humanity, maybe.
Yeah.
I would say this is, we'll get into it, but I feel like this is more optimistic than
Well,
Begonia.
yeah, depending on like if you just took the film for like from beginning to end, yes. So the Bone Temple, here we go. 2026, Bone Temple. 28 years later, The Bone Temple. Directed by Nia DaCosta, written by Alex Garland. And the funny thing is, like in the previews, or I can't remember what but it says Alex Garland's The Bone Temple. I was like, there was some like Nia DaCosta just completely getting thrown out.
Yeah, unfortunately, she's not like as big of a name as him, so
Right.
they want to be able to weaponize Garland's, style for marketing purposes.
That's what I figure that, but just it doesn't seem right.
It would also be hard to advertise this as from the director of The Marvels.
Yeah, or what, the Candyman? The
Candyman would be an easier, I think, pivot, but yeah,
not
still
hard.
yeah.
Yeah. So, written by Alex Garland, starring Ralph Fiennes as Dr. Kelson. We have Jack O'Connell as Sir Jimmy Crystal. You have
How's that?
his gang of crystals, or Jimmies as they are, which I don't think anyone's recognizable except Erin Kellerman. She was in Solo 28. She was in. She had to have been in.
Oh, she's in The Green Knight.
the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. She was I think one of the antagonists in that film.
Okay.
That's where I recognize her from. I was like, she's in some Marvel property. And then we have Samson's Dick, played by Chi Lewis Perry. Yeah, because that thing's got to get its own freaking nomination in here.
So Wikipedia describes the character of Samson as a physically imposing alpha, and I love that can have just more than one meaning.
Mm-hmm.
Physically imposing.
Yeah.
It's like the first thing I think of is his hog.
It's going to be prominent and just right there for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's what is it? What do they call it? A banger in the mouth, as they say out there in England.
Oh, do they?
Something like that. That's an Arrested Development quote. And then don't want to forget Alfie Williams as Spike.
Yes.
So
Very important.
movie opens up. We're in like a regressed swimming pool area, and there's a group of people chanting, and there's a fight that's kind of breaking out, and we start zooming in and we realize it's Spike, who in one of the films, I don't know if it's not giving anything away now, is it?
No, we're talking about the sequel to 28 years later. So obviously, like, if you're listening to this, you've probably seen that movie.
Yeah, and it opens up, and if you haven't, Spike was running away from a zombie horde and was saved by the Jimmies, and so it was alluded to that there was going to be a little bit more of a focus. And so we get into the film now, and there's a fight breaking out, and Sir Jimmy Crystal sitting up in his throne, telling him that this is it's not charity, but this is a fight to the death in order to be part of his crew. You know, he's got 7 fingers, and there's only 7 that can be part of the crew. So Alfie, I should say Spike, ends up making a move, takes down the gentleman he's going against, the bully, in a very graphic nature, which is like a really good indication of what this film's going to kind of be about. And they exit the swimming pool and off they go. And the next frame, we kind of get the title card in there, and then we get the Dr. Kelson, who has this infatuation with Samson as he goes about his merry way. And they end up we see right off the initial phase that there's a kindred relationship being broken out between these two characters, and more to come as the movie progresses. Mm-hmm. So, let's get into it. For 28 years later, The Bone Temple.
I enjoy the fact that this movie...
Spoilers too, by the way.
Yeah, spoiler alert for 28 years later, Bone Temple. I enjoy the fact that this movie had the... the opening title that you're familiar with from the previous films, 28 years later, ... And then the whole cold open happens, and you see the scene with Spike and like his initiation into the gang, which I quickly want to point out that the way that he is able to defeat his opponent is because his opponent was just fucking with him.
Yeah.
And is like basically just toying with like an animal or just a little kid.
Oh, hey, Jimmy, I could do this all day.
Yeah. And Spike kind of gets one up on him by pulling his pants down and stabbing him in the leg.
Yeah.
Hitting an artery.
Yep.
Which is when the guy actually starts panicking, and then Sir Jimmy Crystal, played by Jack O'Connell, just comes over, and you get to see the way in which he goes about one of his fingers essentially just dying in front of him, pleading and begging for help.
Yep.
And you get to learn a lot about Sir Jimmy Crystal in that scene. And then
malevolent. He's not a malevolent god.
And then it cuts to The Bone Temple as like a title screen that comes up. It's a rare thing to have like the subtitle come up way after the initial title, which is fun.
It felt like... So that's why I kind of felt bad for Nia DaCosta and all of it, because I feel like she wanted to put her stamp on this thing and really have
I think she did.
Name. I hope so. Like, it's one of those things like, but if you're peddling Alex Garland, does anyone go in there, the producers, and they're like, Nia DaCosta made this film? Or do they go, Alex Garland's the one that got us those people in those seats? Where's that line at? It's like Warfare. It's the same thing where he was really trying to get the director's name out there and he was only assisting, but how much is that he gets accredited or attributed, the how well the movie is.
I have some insight that I can offer.
Sure.
But we can talk about that a little bit more further down the discussion.
Okay.
Obviously, going into this movie, you learn about the development and how this was shot, pretty much back to back with the other film, 28 years later, and how they're releasing this movie like half a year afterwards.
Yep.
And it's like quick turnaround, raises a little bit of an eyebrow of like, okay, how much should I be concerned that they're gung-ho into making this a franchise already instead of just like a one-off, return to this world after a long break, and then immediately deciding like, no, we should like get as much out of this as possible. And you would hope that Alex Garland being the writer for all these movies, there would be an effective enough through line to get you through it, but there's still some trepidation going into this.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, I and we talk about it in our actual discussion of the movie, but I enjoy 28 years later. I think you were a little bit, more wary on it than I was, but you still liked it to a degree, right? So even with that idea in mind, like going into this movie, it's like, okay, well, naturally this will probably be like either a step down or like it'll be like it's so
a bit
different,
more saturated, right?
Yeah, and I was very, very pleasantly surprised at just how much I enjoyed this movie, how much I felt like it was so in the like same sphere as 28 years later, the previous film, while also being its own thing.
Yep.
Like I was a big fan of that as a filmmaking decision, and like kind of letting Nia DaCosta take the reins of this. And I can offer some quick insights into her kind of joining this because I listen to other movie podcasts and they talk about this movie, and when they approached her with the idea of like, hey, we're going to be making 28 years later and the Bone Temple, we're going to do this thing back to back with the hopes that if these movies make enough money, we'll get greenlit for a third film.
Yeah.
All of them obviously written by Alex Garland, first movie being directed by Danny Boyle. So passing the reins to her, someone who has previous experience with directing, you know, horror movies, larger budget films like Candyman and The Marvels, it's like, okay, well, we know that you can be like a reliable voice in this sort of cacophony of what we're trying to make. And I remember one of the hosts of the podcast that I listened to mentioned that because they knew her personally and they were in communications with her, and she said that this was like one of the first films that I've ever worked on where like they actually let me do what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like obviously she's working within the framework of Alex Garland's script, and I would imagine that they probably don't want to deviate from that too much, especially if they're wanting to lead it up to a third and potentially final film.
Yeah.
But that being said, I feel like this movie makes some really interesting and fascinating choices as far as like framing the characters and kind of having that be the central focus of it, as opposed to the way that 28 Years Later was filmed, where it's like a lot of very kind of exciting and experimental camera work, a lot of focus on like the environment and like the world itself. And while I feel like this movie doesn't exactly lose that, I feel like the focus is so like emotion forward and character forward in a way that I feel like the previous film wasn't necessarily. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's just my thoughts on it. Overall, I think this movie is really fun. I had a good time with this, seeing this in theaters.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah. No, it's funny because you said experimental filmmaking with the 28 Years Later. I thought this was more experimental in the sense of like a storyline.
For sure, yeah. I agree with that.
It's definitely not you don't get the feel of Danny Boyle at all. Yeah, emotionally driven, character driven. We're going to be soaked up in this world with these essentially the people living within the world as opposed to being in the environment and the survivalist mode with all of it. I thought it's way different. It's funny because it's it's a zombie film, but there's not really any zombies in it. So subverting expectations, kind of going into that, and Nia DaCosta. That's what I was saying like earlier, where I was talking about. I hope that she gets attributed to the film because it's so much. And I don't know any of her work, but you could tell this is her brand,
yes,
right? And that like Garland wrote it, but the way that she's able to, I don't want to say frame certain things, but focus on the characters, right? And it's this like weird I always go to food, right? But it's kind of like two of those parcels that you're mixing together and someone goes, is that good? And you're like, yeah, it tastes pretty good, you know? Mm-hmm. Very, very unique in of itself. I think this is it almost could be a one-off from the like if you had the franchise, like I compare it. Well, not necessarily compare it to Star Wars Rogue One, but I could see easily this one being kind of pushed off to the side. Like you'd have these 5 movies are about zombies. This one is technically about zombies, mm-hmm. you know? So, no, it was it was interesting. Very, very interesting. And it's a very unique way of going about and I wish I could pull some other films, but it's almost just like, hey, we're in this world, but we're not going to focus on the world itself. We're going to focus on the people within the world and what they're doing.
Yeah, and like sort of like them being a product of the world, and mm-hmm. more so just like kind of at least from like the story perspective of like Jack O'Connell's gang and like Spike and his kind of introduction to them, about how it is so much still about like this boy being influenced by the people in this world, and like kind of, I guess not like influence, but just like him trying to navigate this environment.
Navigate my ass. He was out every time he was out. There was never. So there's a movie. Have you ever seen Blood Diamond?
Yeah, long time ago.
All right. So in Blood Diamond,
I think I watched it in a classroom.
I mean, it's Leo, and he's got the South African accent, and but there's an interesting storyline that it's about these Blood Diamonds, and there's a civil war that's on the breakout, right? So obviously you have two warring parties, right? Mm-hmm. And one of them's extremely bad, and they don't give a shit about anything, right? Completely nihilistic, and like they'll kill you unless you join them. And they show how they brainwash these younger men into joining, right? And the things that they have to do, and it's very horrifying, Just and I was thinking that was going to happen with Spike and this stuff, and I'm like, no, it never did. He was never like. I'm teetering on the line. I'm going to have to figure out. I wish they would have tackled that just a little bit more on him having to make some tougher choices.
Yeah, it never feels like it is a exact like moral quandary, really.
Right.
It's almost just, it's like they're just kind of holding him hostage.
Yeah.
The entire time, because he does not want to be there at all.
You get there's a Jimmy Inc. who's played by Aaron Kellerman. They do have an interesting conversation where she says you'll have to do these things if you want to survive, mm-hmm. right? And that definitely gets into that instinct of, like the fucking virus is kicking in, like I can't go out, so am I going to have to do these things? How long can I go before I have to make these actions, right? And mm-hmm. they just never got close enough for me to think that he was like, all right, he's going to pull the trigger or he's going to do this,
Yeah.
He was always I don't want to say wasted in this thing, but he never felt like we were going to focus on his scenario and what was going on with him mentally, or trying to figure out how he was going to, that's why I don't think it's navigates the right word. And that's just me,
No, that's fine.
My 2 cents.
Yeah, no, I get that. I guess when I use the word navigate, it's more just like, how do I navigate the situation so they don't kill me?
Yeah.
Like, more or less. Like,
yeah.
Because I think it's like pretty obvious in the beginning, but like you just get the sense that in his head he's thinking about, if I run away, they're just gonna come find me and kill me. Like, if I do anything to like, piss them off, it's game over. And I just want to like try to keep that at a minimum as much as possible until I find the right opportunity.
2 or 3 times, yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Even then, it's not like they're focusing on him. Like he has. One situation pops up where all of a sudden, like, I thought that would be like, all right, this is the turning point. I really hope that we're going to get into something where he has to kill someone, like someone that's innocent, right? And he makes a choice out of survival, and then it's like, all right, now I have to live with this guilt, this shame, all this stuff because I'm not them, and we just never got there. And that's why I think his storyline and. He was a little wasted in this because I thought there could have been some really unique things they could have did with him.
Yeah. I mean, obviously this movie's, more focused on Sir Jimmy Crystal and Dr.
Yes.
Ian Kelson
Yes.
as like the central figures of the narrative.
Yes.
You got the good and the evil basically being depicted until halfway through the movie they, meet each other in a very, very well written scene.
Oh, it's fantastic. And Jack O'Connell can act his ass off.
Jack O'Connell is popping off as these very scummy, scary, sweaty villains that are just yucking up the screen,
Yeah.
in a good way. Like,
yeah.
I mean, his presence, his cadence, the fact that he is able to have this like sort of recognizable quality of like, okay, because like if you watch the first movie, the first 28 years later, you get the cold open of that film, and it's this little kid who is like hiding out in this church, and his father is being eaten by zombies as he's like spouting off this like religious dogma.
Yep.
And you realize that, oh, that is Jimmy Crystal. And at the end of that movie, they all come to Spike's rescue. They're all in these fucking like Power Ranger tracksuit get-ups, and they all call themselves Jimmy.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck is going on here with this? And I like the way that this movie kind of continues the idea of like he's never really fully grown up. Like,
oh yeah, he's Arrested Development.
yeah, there's something stunted in the growth of his psyche that like still keeps him in that zone of like this like weird morbid childlike curiosity about the world, while he fully knows that like, yeah, I'm doing bad shit to people, like I'm torturing them, I'm like giving charity essentially, like
It's that. So
I'm passing myself off as like a religious figure.
the Batman, the new one. Like, hey, we're gonna explore like if Bruce Wayne, psychologically had to come to terms, the parent's death, right? And then like, what would it be if he was just in this sense, right? That's what I kind of felt like they were doing with Sir Jimmy in this, was hey, like, let's take someone in this world that had to listen to his father getting ripped to shreds, had to teach himself all these different things, because that happened like when he was 8 or 9, right?
Yeah.
And what a sociopath would look like just growing up with no boundaries or rules whatsoever. Because like even sociopaths now, like you have the daily dose of the law, you have
social cues.
Yeah, like there's a whole bunch of things that you are like as a sociopath, like you're working around, but you develop like that charm to get by, right? Where in this, he didn't even have to do that.
Yeah.
It's literally just like, hey, you're going to be an evil piece of shit, and you've got no one checking you. How far mentally can you go?
Well, he undeniably has charisma, and I'm wondering if that sort of stems from the kind of like, preacher figure that his dad was.
Yeah.
Sort of like being used to being around someone who like spouts off this dogma and like this stuff that is easily able to like kind of control and manipulate people.
Yeah.
And like he's using that, weaponizing it to his own personal advantage, but also like to keep his followers using this like religious angle.
Yeah, to some, I mean, yeah.
When I say religious, I just more mean like his version of what religion
I
is.
know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying I don't know if that's where it got interesting for me too, is because like I don't know about what he was preaching really resonated. It was almost more so of like cult like.
Well, when he gets to the scene where he meets Dr. Ian Kelson, he shows his hand of like, he knows that he's kind of full of shit. Like,
well, I'm not even like, think about, so the girl, when they found Kelson, right? She was like, I saw Saint Nick, or Sir Nick. I saw, and that's where I get into like, all right, how much did they actually believe, and how much of this was like, I am gonna give you the something to fasten to, right? Versus, if you don't join my clan, I'm gonna kill you, right? So I don't. Anyways, yeah. All of it's just fascinating.
Yeah, I liked her character quite a bit.
Yeah.
I thought she was really good. I enjoyed the fact that there were a couple different angles with her of she's the most sympathetic towards Spike.
Yep.
That's a part of the group. But also she seems to be the most bought in to the idea of
That's what I'm
Saint
talking
Nick
right.
and that existing as like an ideology.
And that's where you get into like, if this is one of the followers, right, and she can't believe it, or it's not like, oh, this is horse shit, right? Then everyone else must believe it. But yeah, she was fantastic, and she was floating in both parallels, right, or teetering the line.
Yeah, like kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Yeah, like she kind of knew, like, which was another interesting thing, because she kind of knew all of this wasn't the best, and that she was doing it for survival. But also, I found Saint. Maybe that's if that had been if they really found Sir Nick, right? Is it Sir Nick or Saint Nick?
I think it's Sir Nick.
Okay,
because he's Sir Jimmy Crystal.
Right. That's why I couldn't tell, like, if they were saying Saint Nick as like like one up from him, because he was a disciple. He was the son of Sir Nick.
Yeah, big year for old Saint Nick.
Yeah, the Christmas Adventurers Club. That's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah. Oh, is it Old Nick? Okay. Are our
Nick-
memories just that shit?
I don't know. Well, it's something with Nick, like, well, because I think he also refers to him as Old Nick because he's like, that's my pops.
Yeah. No, I think Megan's right. I think it is Old Nick. Boy, don't I feel silly. I've been saying the wrong fucking name this whole time.
Who cares? And I don't. The way that they were talking about it, I didn't even. I thought they were talking about Santa Claus the whole time. Like I thought Christmas Adventurers Club every time they said his name.
And with how silly they're dressed up, you could kind of get behind it.
Yeah,
Like,
100%. Come on, he's leading a cult.
yeah.
Like, what
And
are
he's
we
obsessed with the
talking about?
Teletubbies.
Yeah, like I'm not. That's where that Arrested Development. Like all right, because he's not learning.
Hmm.
Everything he's gotten out of it, he's taught himself. Like even the story that he's recanting at the dinner table is of a memory of him when he was watching the Teletubbies at a very young age, right?
Yeah.
Like you can just see how stunted he is. So yeah, I was like, I don't think it's Santa Claus, but they're doing a lot of red and Old Nick. Like, all right.
What does he have? The one female Jimmy do, Jamina or whatever her name was. She does the Dipsy dance.
Yeah, the Dipsy dance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite a thing. All right, let's talk about the scene that almost made me pass out in the theater.
The skinning.
Yeah.
Did not
Fucking-
see that coming.
Fucking brutal.
Gnarly.
One of the most brutal things I think I've seen in a movie theater in quite some time.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah. So just like the scene itself and a lot of like the implications of that scene, and it goes on for a while. Like
They don't stop.
they do not stop, and they don't shy away from it. I mean, it's very well filmed, and it obviously like that scene is so full of like tension of like what the fuck is gonna is this just gonna keep happening?
So
Like how
mind
does
you,
this resolve?
Too, we've only seen a artery stabbing
Yeah.
and a giant penis. So
Yeah, right.
it's kind of like
Which we
there's-
will circle back to.
Yeah, there's a little bit of sense of like, all right, how much do they show? I know that they're not afraid to show, but yeah, we're gonna skin someone. Like, are they really? And then they start doing it.
But I love the way that they construct that scene in terms of the dialogue and the terminology when you learn what charity is. And then
Yes.
Sir Jimmy Crystal, I think, is the one who says, give me their shirts. And then you learn that means, we're going to skin them alive
Yep.
from the shape of like a t-shirt over their body, so like their torso and like part of their arms
It'd
or
be
whatever.
like if you were to wear a sweater and tied around your waist.
Yeah. Fucking Christ. Yeah, that scene was rough, but then you get the scene you get the moment, I should say, where there's like the one guy that's hanging there who hasn't been
Yep.
tortured yet.
Yep.
Jack O'Connell comes up to him and is like, if
You're
you
a strapping young lad. You
You're a
want to join
strapping
my
young lad.
crew?
if you choose one of my fingers to fight, you'll replace them
Yeah.
as one of the 7 fingers of Jimmy. And then, he picks the one that he thinks is the weakest, and then it turns out, oh no, she, knows her way around a fight.
Yep.
And then she, gets the upper hand on him and says, oh,
Dog in the studio. Dog in the studio. Bark, bark, bark.
and then she
He's
says,
got opposable thumbs. He's opening the door.
Yeah. He's on his hind legs.
Yeah.
It's just Tim Allen.
You've been housing Tim Allen this whole time.
That would be quite something.
Oh man.
But no, she says she gets the upper hand on him,
Yeah.
and then Jimmy's like, "What's your charity of choice?" And she says, "I want his trousers."
Oh,
and then
my
you
dude.
immediately know what that means.
Sat upright, legs crossed,
And-
kind of squinting at the screen.
It's at this point in the movie that I'm very lightheaded. I don't normally get this way with movies now.
You were lightheaded?
I'm able to like usually disassociate and be like, okay, this is a movie. None of this is real. I don't have to be like, fatigued
How
or
do you
like
watch
on the verge of
fucking
fainting.
Antichrist and then get like lightheaded during that?
I had to turn away during one moment in Antichrist.
All of it's been, yeah.
And it's an effect that like I had not felt since, and this is another Danny Boyle movie, I had watched 127 Hours. That's the only other film to
Squeamish?
make me
Yeah.
feel this way of like, do I need to like brace myself
Yep.
until I like fall over? Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, there's
Super effective.
Yeah, it was. It was sitting in that theater, and like I said, there wasn't any sort of, there was some anticipation, but like, all right, like what sort of camera work are we gonna do here to help with this?
Right.
And it's not, they don't go through the whole thing. Like there's other, anyways. Watch The Last King of Scotland. There you go.
Oh, is that Forrest Whitaker?
Yeah, I think they're. Yeah. Anyway, they're disturbing things in films, right? But so they don't get too disturbing with this. But
It's not like torture porn necessarily,
right? But like it's the fact that we're hovering around it and we're still in with them. Like
and you're still in with it, and you're not sure how much further it's gonna go.
Yeah, and then when they do the trials, I went like, okay, but this is game on. Like anything could happen right now.
Yep. And then boom, she gets a hook to the head.
Yep.
And things go tits up, as they say in London.
Yeah.
And then the barn burns down, and that's pretty much how that scene concludes.
Spike's got a fucking choice to make, and he cops out. Like I was like, oh, here we are. Like literally, he's holding that bow and arrow, and I was like, yes, here it is. And then he just drives. He goes, "Take me with you," and then she kicks him in the nuts and runs away.
Yeah.
It's like, but you also, it's a great thing with Sir Jimmy in that too, where you really just see how deranged he is.
Yeah.
Like he knows the kid fucked up, right? He's playing cat and mouse with him in terms of his story.
You didn't decide to bring back a morsel?
Yeah.
Cut her face off, maybe.
Like all of that stuff, and he does it so like we're in his set. It's reasoned and logic with, right? Mm-hmm. Where it's not like I have to do this to show that I'm the biggest baddest dude or whatever. Like he's literally just pissed off that he didn't grab her pinky toe.
Yeah. Shall we circle back to Ian Kelson and sort of like the stuff that he's dealing with?
Yeah. What he's dealing with.
So in the previous film, you get the sense that Dr. Ian Kelson, very smart individual, kind of is navigating this world in a very efficient way, in a way that, lets him keep learning about the infection and like its physiology and like how it affects the human mind. And
he has a purpose in life, and during times like this, one could only assume, right? It'd be very easy to lose yourself, to lose God, or to lose your science, your mind. And he has grounded himself in a way to say, I will make this productive and I will continue about, and I now have a new purpose with helping people, right? And it's a very, very wholesome experience that he's going through, and just kind of how it looks like every day that you just take one more step, right?
Yeah. The look at his relationship with Samson in this movie, I think is so effectively done, and is one of my favorite through lines in this entire movie, is just like how that relationship evolved, or like, relationship, air quotes. I don't know how much of a relationship you can have with an alpha zombie who's out of his mind.
They kind of had, I mean, they danced.
They did. They danced in the moonlight. That's for sure. Escanaba. But it's just super fascinating to see it from that angle, especially in like a post-apocalyptic zombie storyline of like, because if you're watching a movie like this, usually where it's like post-apocalyptic zombies and like they introduce the idea of like a potential cure, it's usually like a one and done. Like, oh, we've got the cure. Now
Get
it's
to
like
the copter.
Right. Or there's just like one person who's like immune to it, kind of like 28 weeks later. And there's like this idea of like, oh, we need to, either save this person or like harvest.
Blood.
Like do experiments on them to figure it out, whatever. And I like that this one is just such a methodical, like very kind of like basic scientific approach of like experimenting and like trying to figure out if there's a difference to be had with, this thing that keeps happening, this like learned behavior that he's perceiving from Samson.
Yeah.
And how, you keep coming back, but you notice that I have the blow dart. You know what that means.
Yeah.
Even if you don't think you do. And then seeing that progress in a way of like, is there humanity underneath the surface of this, rage virus and this infection? Or is this just, wishful thinking on Kelson's part? And then you get the moment where like he's about to euthanize him and he says the word moon.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow. This could have easily been a moment that was like super fucking cheesy or like overly sentimental or like something that would have like dropped the ball if it were like in the hands of a lesser director, lesser writer. And I don't know. I think it just nails it.
Yeah. I said unique, experimental. I'm talking kind of in the sense of, yes, I agree. I think it's very hard to balance that when you're talking about a zombie movie and you're like, oh, we're going to have the zombie talk, right? The lead up to that point is all believable. And the events that occur before that, it's so, I don't want to say cheesy or cartoony, but it, like I kind of talked in the previous one too. There's some things that happen where I'm like, they just don't, it's not well explained enough, and it just kind of occurs, right? And this one, it almost felt like it was teetering on the same lines for me, where this is, okay, we got a guy out here who's mixing berries, morphine, and some fucking acid water together, and he's like, I got the cure, right? But like, they do a really good job of building that relationship that they have to make you almost kind of care about or want to see them, break through, right? Like that's the big point with this. Cause like if you could meme this shit out of this thing if you wanted to, like if this was if this wasn't a good movie, those events would be memed everywhere, right? Like take a lesser film.
Yeah.
And say that still occurs with it, right? And like we don't have some of the build up or whatever getting to that point. This thing's getting mocked. And that's where I think you have to do a hats off to actually have a little bit of sympathy with their relationship, to understand where Kelson's coming from and to make everything that's occurring believable. Because the other thing too that we hadn't seen, we are so conditioned with zombies that there's just no way around it unless you get the cure. They harvest the blood, right? Or someone flips the switch, and to have like a little bit more of a methodical approach, a scientific approach with it, on him actually trying to go through and say, all right, like I've done this now, I've done this, maybe this will work. It's well done. And I think what also helps, I was just thinking about this with all that, is what they do with the Jimmies, that you're almost like, give me something good, like where you want that to succeed.
Yeah.
Because you're seeing the parallel with it if it doesn't.
Right. I saw this kind of put into other words somewhere else, but more or less the idea of Jimmy like taking these people, these souls, and like condemning them to, old Nick.
Yeah.
And the idea of Dr. Ian Kelson like doing his best to sort of, I guess, for lack of a better term, save the soul of this alpha zombie.
Right.
And I like the way that he approaches it from an angle that I don't think I've seen many other like zombie properties approach it, where he looks at it from a psychological point of view of what is it that you're seeing to make you attack, children and babies, because obviously they don't pose a threat to you.
Right.
Like, is there something in the mind rather than like a physical ailment?
Urge, right?
Yeah.
Like hey, one of the ones that I like is it's a virus. We have to spread the virus. That's why we bite, and that's why it's not necessarily killing, right? It's not the act of violence itself. It's more so just preservation of the virus. Whereas, with this one, it takes on a little bit of a different approach of him saying, all right, like you mentioned, like these things can't protect themselves. They pose no threat. They're not physically limited, in terms of their health or anything like that. You're literally just striking it down because of something going on within the brain. And I don't, you say haven't, like, I don't think this has been talked about anywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, not this particular thing. And, I like the sort of like visual evolution of it, from like him, scooping out someone's brains, a scene in which Megan almost lost it too.
Because we go from the Jimmies to Samson, right?
Yeah.
And he gets the guy and then does the predator move out of him.
Oh my God.
The
sound design on him ripping the spines out will never not be effective. Like, I don't know.
Oh yeah, it's almost like taking a shoe out of like mud, like wet mud.
Yeah.
That suction, and then all of a sudden it's just dispersed to like this kind of liquidy goo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you go from a scene of like him doing that to like he's eating berries and he's wearing a cloth, which, by the way, I want to talk about this real quick.
Okay.
Did you also think that his penis was smaller in this than the previous movie?
I didn't really give it too much thought. It was one of those things where I was like, I don't know. I don't think she wants to make this as prominent as the other one, though.
Yeah, I mean, that is sort of the really main difference between like her filmmaking approach and Danny Boyle's. Is Danny Boyle's
The penis size?
well, just the idea of like being extra, about like the style
right.
and like the prosthetics and like the
Yeah.
effects and all that stuff.
Right.
Whereas like her is like very grounded. And I also think too, there's the idea that in the previous movie there were a lot of scenes of the alpha with the child actor nearby, so they
Yeah.
had to have a prosthetic for that. Whereas, and I don't know if this is confirmed or not, but what I read was because there's no children in the scenes with him, that he's just able to like just let his real hog out.
Oh,
Which,
nice.
if that's his real hog, then still impressive.
Yeah.
It's not like a fucking Pringles can like it was in the previous movie.
There was a lot less talk about it leading up to this one than the first one.
Yeah.
I had not seen any memes from this one. So
it almost feels purposeful that way of like, all right, the dick in the last one was a little distracting. Like that's almost all people talked about. Let's reel this bad boy
kind of
back
makes
a
you
little
wonder
bit.
how good of a film it is.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I didn't get the chance to rewatch 28 Years before I saw this, so
I didn't either.
be
I don't know where
hard to
it's.
compare.
I don't know where it's at.
Yeah.
but
yeah, no, I mean, then you get the scene of like the two main figures, Dr. Kelson and Sir Jimmy Crystal meeing up.
yeah,
Which I think we've already mentioned is your favorite scene. It
Oh,
might be mine
fantastic.
too.
Like that. So leading up to that, Sir Jimmy has been a cult leader, right? You know that he's in a state of arrested development, and it makes you wonder how much he's able to soak in of the world around him.
Mm-hmm.
How much of the now this whole world's a threat to everyone, right? And him and his people have not shown as such. Like they're like, we kind of own this. We're the king of Scotland now, and these infected creatures live amongst us, and there's never a sign for him that at anything his world's ever collapsing or there's something new that has blown him away. And him going to the ossuary and looking around, I was like, I was laughing out loud. Just his facial reaction to stuff of being like, because one, there's a sense for him of, I don't think Old Nick is a real thing.
Yeah.
Right. But my God, this is probably as close as I'm going to get to it.
Yep.
He happens to catch a man decked out in red, in which I don't blame him because I think in 28 years later, I was wondering why he was decked out in red, and then you have this sense of like, I might be meeting my maker. I know it's not my dad. Like just the confusion of the world that this is all new for him, and to be able to capture that, I think is fantastic. And then Dr. Kelson. Just being totally wholesome, right? Like it's a weird mashup that you have going on, but him able to sit down and them having a conversation,
Them talking about like where he grew up and like where
Yeah.
his church was and
He
like
goes,
who his dad
I
was.
haven't accessed these memories like ever, essentially, like he's like literally just going like, it's really boiling him down to who he was before all this shit started.
Yeah, and like
Right.
you get little glimpses of Ian Kelson's life before in the form of photos that he hangs up in his like little shelter or whatever.
Yeah.
And like some of the music he plays and listens to. Shout out to the Radiohead track that's in the song or in the movie.
Yeah.
Everything in its right place. But in that scene, I felt like I picked up the idea of like, because he has such a purpose that he feels is so important with like, the things he's doing with Samson and like the memorialization of like all the bones that he has around them of like people that used to exist and live. He puts such an importance on those things that you get the sense that like he almost feels like he's maybe happier with how he's living now versus back then.
I think the reason he's so easy to talk to is he's at peace with the world.
Yeah.
There's a certain, I don't know if I'd say happier, but he's carved out his own little world
there's no reason to like really worry too much.
And he's taking care of himself, everything. He's got a purpose, right?
He's lived this long.
Yeah, and now he's got a friend because he's probably lonelier than shit.
Yeah.
And now, like, the purpose, he's also got someone that he's like, man, if I bring him back into this world, we get to banty about. And I think that's why, like, Sir Jimmy sitting down with him, there's definitely a feeling of he's got a greater purpose than what we just did at that farm. This person has something about them. Like, you don't walk in to the ossuary and look around and go like deranged psycho, like no passion, right? Like whatever you do, there's definitely questions because he put so much time and effort into that.
Yeah.
Right. So that whole conversation. I don't know. I don't exactly know how to describe it, but it was almost like the most grounded thing in the whole film that happened because you have him leading the cult versus taming a zombie. And then those two sitting down, it was almost like a real human moment that you could have out in the woods somewhere.
Yeah. It's like the closest thing I think he's had to kinship in a long time. And like
both of them.
It makes the previous movies moments where Spike and his mom come across him make a little more sense in that like this guy's just like super lonely. He would probably love to talk to people if he wasn't doing this weird shit all the time. He's so excited to tell them about like how all the stuff works and like why he's got the monuments and all the bones and everything. Like I don't know, it's just very endearing in a movie in a world that is just full of the most horrific shit. Yeah, sometimes caused by Jimmy.
And then then the record stops too, Yeah. Like that's what I love too is like when it gets into for me, I'm sitting there watching, I was like, well, something's gotta happen, right? Like they're not just gonna let him go, but how do they do this? And then hit that line where it just he's so, and that's why I love it too. He's so cold and calculated. Like he's just like, it doesn't mean anything to him,
When he's talking about cutting out his insides and making him eat them.
Yeah, like it's just that's the way it works.
Let's talk about the climactic scene where they go into the ossuary and the Jimmies are about to meet, at least in their perception, Old Nick.
Yeah,
and Ralph Fiennes puts on a hell of a show.
Yes, he does.
Blasts some Iron Maiden, does some pyrotechnics, is all caked up in like this makeup and this like getup and all this stuff. Starts this like ring of fire around them, really like selling it. And you get the sense that like because he's putting on such a show that he's actually kind of having fun with it. Like,
oh, without a doubt, he was having it's just to him they're fellow travelers. Like he knows they're bad.
Yeah.
He wants them gone, but at the same token, he's kind of like, well, the world. That's why I love how smart Dr. Kelson is and all this stuff too. Is he's like, the world has shaped all these people into all these different types of people, right? Like we don't have rules, we don't have boundaries. There's nothing guiding us anymore. And yes, they're awful, and I want them out. And at the same token, that they're people. They're a product of their environment, And so like I think he has some sympathy for everything going on too, which makes it easier for him to do all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
what were the three like I guess commands that he gave them? I know one of them was what was it, like give charity always? But then there was another one that was
give charity always. There's Jimmy he no longer needs 7 fingers. He can have as many fingers as he needs.
Which I'm wondering if like that was like a negotiation on his part. Like, all right, you gotta like let more people into your club. You can't just like keep killing yourselves off. And also like maybe an attempt to like.
No, I think Jimmy just was looking around like, all right, I'm tired of just having 7 of us.
Yeah, just like wants more power from that.
Because what do you do? He can't go and say like, I read the book of Old Nick and it says I can have more fingers. Like if he does that, he becomes a false prophet.
True. But then that moment where like he recognizes that it's Spike behind the mask.
Yeah, I don't know if it was give charity always at that point or if it had to. I don't remember if anything had to deal with Spike.
Right.
But he catches him. Like, and I don't remember. I thought before it might have been something that. Oh no, I don't. Because then he makes another proclamation that this finger stays with me.
Yeah. He like adds one on.
Yeah.
And then he also says, much like God gave his only son
Yep.
on the cross, so I will you.
Yeah.
And Sir Jimmy Crystal is my only son.
Yeah, he tries to go ballsy.
Yeah, he does. He's like, hey, crucify this motherfucker.
Yeah.
And then things go tits up,
Yeah.
as they say in good old London. And there's the other two Jimmys that are there that are still loyal to Sir Crystal are stabbed, and Jimmy himself, Jack O'Connell, crucified upside down. But also Kelson gets stabbed in this moment, and
Gut wrenching.
literally gut wrenching, because I think that's where he gets stabbed. And him and Spike have a moment, and then you see the Alpha come back, and I like how when he approaches from Jack O'Connell's point of view, because you remember during like the dance he like blew something in their face that was like a drug of some kind.
Yeah, acid.
The way he's looking at Samson is like it makes him think that is old Nick, because he's got like the devil horns and he's fucking huge as shit.
Yeah.
It's like scary as fuck. I like that moment.
Yeah. It was fun. There's a lot of fun stuff in here. Well done, like little, not necessarily hanging on shots, but just enough to really add to the flavor.
Yeah.
You know.
All right, let's talk about the last scene. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
We got to touch on it. So, we talked about this a little bit before recording, but me going into this series of movies and like kind of reading about the development and like who's involved and like where certain characters are going to pop up, I already knew that Killian was going to be in this movie, and I also knew that his involvement with this was going to be like very minimal, like the very kind of tail end of it. So I knew he was coming, and I knew it was going to be towards the end of the movie.
Right.
And that he is supposedly going to be the main focus of the third film, whether or not that gets made. Fingers crossed. 7 fingers crossed. But
Yeah. Keep going.
the way that they've like kind of built this world up and like this sort of mythos of these movies that they've written, I almost expected something quite different. I was almost expecting Cillian Murphy's character Jim to be like either a part of this like cult, or like a hermit, or like a survivalist, or like some kind of like wild transformative thing that was very different from his character in 28 Days Later. And then there he is in the house. He just strolls out, and it's Cillian Murphy.
Yeah.
Just looks like Cillian Murphy. And you learn that he has a daughter. It's not said whether or not Naomi Harris's character is still alive. They kind of leave that a little open-ended, but they hear some commotion. They go out and they see that Spike and the last remaining Jimmy, Kelly,
Kellerman.
are running away from a horde of zombies, and they decide that they're going to help them. And that's where the movie ends. I will admit, I did get excited when I saw Killian. I was like, there's my boy.
Yeah.
There he is. I love the guy.
There he is.
And the idea of like the next movie kind of being centered on him is admittedly to me exciting. And I would be curious to see how they would explore that, especially considering it's going to be the same creative team behind it. You said something about it being kind of emblematic of the idea of member berries and like this sort of like, kind of getting a reaction for the sake of iconography. I don't disagree with that. I think that is something that's, very present in that moment, and
exploiting it now.
Yeah, it is a little, it takes you out of the immersion of it a tad bit.
For you.
For me.
Yeah.
But I want to hear your thoughts.
I didn't know he was going to be in this thing.
Yes.
And the way that they're going about doing this stuff now, it's not driving me nuts, but it is like you've had your moment in the spotlight. Now, here's the thing, though. This is what I'm going to say. And this is where it goes along with a bunch of different perspectives, because you have the perspective, I didn't know that he was a producer on this thing. So obviously he's been funneling in money to at least maybe this film, or has been the previous ones as well.
I think the previous one too. Yeah.
Yeah. So like he is putting up his own money to help this thing get along and get to where it needs to go, so they can come up with a third. So that to me is passion. Not knowing that, though, they keep screwing it about, and they've got these like the actors just coming back reprising old roles, and how can we build up on their stories? And not to say that it's ineffective. I think there are some times where it's fun, like we talked about was Spider-Man, not name any of them, but there's one that has a couple characters come back, and the first time I had seen it, and now all of a sudden it's like these actors are seeing it. I don't know if they're flocking to that, where it's a easy role. Give me $5 million of in your movie for 10 minutes, right? Just so you can get my name on there, or if it's actually something that you care about. Now, knowing what I know now, yeah, but like during when all that was happening, it's supposed to be like a oh wow, and I'm just sitting there watching it, being like asking all those questions. Why is he in this? What's going on? Where are we going with the third one? I know a third one's coming. Like, is he prominent? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I feel like because of the creative force still being involved, and the idea that these movies have a through line at the very least, I'm a little bit more optimistic about that. That being said, what you touched on is very much kind of like an issue of like current Hollywood, like franchise building and like storytelling, and the idea of just getting the old toys out to play with them again to see if they like strike the same chord is, I think, very much a thing that is becoming gimmicky.
Yes.
And
yeah.
Especially for like these big franchise movies like Marvel and Star Wars, I think just needs to be put away for a while.
Then this one felt gimmicky up until, like, here's the thing. This is what totally changes it. Him being a producer and funneling the money and assisting with some of the creativeness on it. Okay. That means he wants to be a part of this, right? If you don't know that, this is 1,000% gimmicky to me. Like, we're just getting him into this thing so we can come out with a third film, and hopefully people are really building up anticipation to see a third one because we want to make it. And like, we're going to throw his name on the title card now.
Yeah.
To get people that, because like, if I didn't know it and he's not in this thing and the third one comes out and I see Cillian Murphy on there, I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting. I wonder what they're going to do.
Yeah.
But knowing that now, I'm a little bit more excited because I'm like, all right, because now he won't mail in a performance either. Like, he's got some what do you call that? Skin in the game.
Yeah.
So, his whole role and all that stuff going on. I thought I did think though, I was like, all right, this kind of feels like where Jim would end up.
Do you think it would have felt a little less gimmicky if they didn't use the "In a House in a Heartbeat" soundtrack, like Needle Drop, the way they did, with the like, doom 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 doom?
Was that how 28 Days Later, or?
Yeah, it's the piece of music in
right?
The first. Yeah.
No, it was fine. No, there was nothing, dude. Him just being in the film is what I like. If they did a new Predator and Schwarzenegger just popped up, I'd be like, what are we doing?
I got to the chopper.
Yeah. Like, he's just weathered and like holding a fucking machine gun. Like, okay, like, and that's kind of how.
That's basically what he does for the Terminator franchise.
That's where I'm saying, like, it's and that's where it with Jim. It's like, all right, are we having him in here and he's gonna get bit by a zombie 10 minutes into the third one? And
God, pull a Bryan Cranston Godzilla on us.
Yeah, right. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we? That's usually what happens because they're like, we just need your name in here. So we'll give you $6 million. You get 10 minutes of runtime. Just show up on set. You got 2 scenes to shoot. It will take you a week and you can go on to your next project. Right. Yeah. Like, and that's where it was fun at first. I will say that. Like, when the Spider-Man thing happened, I was like, I don't care if it's gimmicky or not. Like, I love seeing these characters back in here, and they got some things, and they actually seemed like they were excited to be in the film. But now it just feels like we're just doing it to get more money, and that's where I bump elbows with it. Rub elbows with it.
Well, maybe we'll be able to rub elbows with this hopefully potential third movie that we get.
Yeah, that's what
fingers crossed.
Same here, because this one was it subverted expectations. I keep saying it. Like, I definitely thought I was going to see a zombie film, and I did not. And it actually, I have more interest now with the third one coming out, just to say, like, all right, where are we going?
Shall we get into ratings?
Yeah.
For 28 years later, The Bone Temple. I go first. So I really enjoy the framework of this movie, the directing of it, I think Nia DaCosta just knocks this out of the park in terms of the filmmaking, the cast. I just really enjoy what was on display here with Ralph Fiennes and Jack O'Connell. I think Jack O'Connell is my... God, it's such a toss-up between him and Ralph Fiennes, though. I have a hard time picking between the two. They're both great.
Man, like, you can't...
When you make a movie like this where, like, the entire thing is hinged on, like, those two pieces of dichotomy and, like, how they will meet in the middle and, like, seeing that as, like, a result of, like, the narrative through line, I think is super impressive, especially considering the performances are really fucking good. Curious to see where this keeps going if they decide to make a third one, God willing. And yeah, I had a really good time with this. This is an 8 out of 10.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. Yeah. The only thing I think of Jack O'Connell's character that I would have liked to have seen more is
more skinning.
Yeah. Well, I would have liked to have seen him partake or do something that made me a little bit more like watching that chick totally take down that dude. You know, I'm like, all right, so if that Jimmy, Sir Jimmy got into a fight with that Jimmy, who's winning that? Like, you want to have like the alpha be the alpha of that group, right? Yeah. But the only thing I needed, but both performances are outstanding, and like literally, I just want to walk up to people and be like, you're gonna watch half a film that's about a cult that kills people in very gruesome ways. The other half is about a man healing a naked zombie, and just be like, and it actually goes down quite smooth, you know, and just see like that's what I'm, you know, because everyone would be like, what? So yeah, Nia DaCosta did very well with this. I thought, I mean, it was a good screenwriting, just a good film overall, you know, and the performances are great. And it's kind of weird that you actually get some really good performances in a bizarre film like this. But they're outstanding. Soundtrack's really good. I mean, they bump out with a lot of 80s, like Duran Duran's got a big part in this thing, you know. And then I think, you know, the only qualm that I really had with the whole thing was just Spike. Like, I really,
him taking a bit of a backseat.
Yeah, I was almost a little bit more frustrated that they didn't go down the route of like, how are we influencing this guy as he's like adapting to a new environment, you know, and how do we brainwash him? Like, just getting a little bit more of a sense of how Jimmy uses old Nick as a weapon. Like you said, he weaponized, and you can see that it happens with the other members. But I was really hoping that I'd get to see a little bit more of Spike kind of questioning his morality.
Yeah.
So, but outside of that, I mean, like a very bizarre, unique film. It's I wish I knew of food, like some weird food groups that I could compare it to, because that's honestly, in my eyes, what you're getting between the sadism and then the wholesomeness of it all, you know. So this is a solid 8 out of 10.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. You put this above the previous one, 28 years later.
Yeah.
I might do the same, honestly.
I could not.
I might edge this out. I gave them the same score, but this one I think will stick with me more.
I think there's like probably 50 minutes of that film that I'm like, yeah, like I like this, and then another 50 minutes I'm just like, you know, and maybe
kind of bounces off you.
Yeah, and like I honestly, some of that, like they showed the gate in this thing, and I was like, wasn't there a gate in a tunnel in the last one? I was like, oh yeah, like some Marines were shooting zombies, and like it's just maybe a little too stylistic. Maybe the relationship between some characters just did not get on board with.
Yeah,
you know, more so in the second act. But c'est la vie. Yeah, for sure. I think the other one I gave 7 out of 10.
Yeah,
but if I did give it an 8, no, I got this one ahead of it.
Well, speaking of heads,
we
get some head popping action.
Yes,
in this movie that we're going to be talking about.
Oh man,
my recommendation
of a weird tone
of Scanners.
Yeah, take it away.
All right, so we're going to be talking about Scanners. Is a 1981 Canadian science fiction horror film. Thank you, Wikipedia. Written and directed by David Cronenberg. I think I said something about this being like one of his first movies. I looked at his filmography. This is like further down the line than I thought. It's like his 6th or 7th.
Yeah, yes. I was looking up some stuff, and they talked about how this he went off the beaten path making this one.
Yeah, this is just more so like the first one that he got, I guess, wide recognition for, more or less. But this is a movie that stars Jennifer O'Neill, Stephen Lack, Patrick McGoohan, Lawrence Dane, and Michael Ironside. At least for me, was the only name in this that I recognize.
Same. Yeah. So yes, name recognized. The doctor, Googlehan,
Patrick McGoohan.
He is the king in Braveheart, and I was sitting there the whole time he's talking. I'm like, I know this guy. I've seen him in another film, and I had to look him up. So yeah, for the point being, yes, name recognition. No one you really recognize. Maybe a face or two. Jennifer O'Neill, I think, had some stuff in the '60s.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, very striking presence.
yes.
But this movie is about it opens up with this kind of disheveled, not too horribly looking, but like seemingly homeless individual who is trying to navigate this mall space. He looks like he's a little paranoid, a little out of his wits.
Yeah.
And he overhears these women talking disparagingly about him, and he starts to kind of focus his energy towards one of them in particular, and she seems uncomfortable, both emotionally and physically.
Yeah.
The physically starts to overpower, and she gets a headache, and then it gets worse and worse and worse until she's writhing on the floor in pain. And this guy, who we learn is Cameron Vale, tries to escape these. They look like detectives, but they're not detectives. They're like these agents. Yeah, the
Consec agents.
So they pick him up, tranquilize him, and he is under the care of Dr. Paul Ruth, who wants to use Cameron to infiltrate this group of these people called scanners, because Cameron himself is a scanner. And these people are able to manipulate the nervous system of other folks, manipulate their brain, their heart, whatever other body parts they want to be able to control or do whatever they want to another human being. And he wants to use Cameron Vale to get to this guy called Daryl Revick, who they mostly just refer to as Revick. This nefarious figure going around recruiting people for his cause, essentially looking to have some sort of not so good intentions take place.
Speaking of sociopaths.
Yeah. So spoilers for Scanners.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen this movie, check this out. It's on HBO Max currently. So I teased this in the last episode, but I had seen this movie before in like either 2018 or 2019. And it was one of those where my friend Gideon found a trailer for it. We didn't really know what this movie was, wasn't too familiar with David Cronenberg as a filmmaker. We just saw the scene in which the guy sitting at the table gets his head exploded.
Yeah.
And we were like, what the fuck is this movie?
Whoa.
And so we threw it on, but kind of under the guise of us understanding, oh, this is just going to be like a silly, schlocky, whatever bullshit movie that we can kind of point and laugh at, have some, cheesy, cheeky fun with.
Yeah.
And the further we watched it, the more we realized, oh, this is just like a real movie. This is just like, obviously it's, weird, it's unusual, especially for the time. It's
a
little dated in certain aspects, but it's got a quality to it that like we weren't anticipating. This wasn't like, a Room situation or anything where it's like, oh, it's so over the top, it's bad.
Yeah.
And obviously this movie's not subtle in any way, but I don't know. I had a good time with this.
Nice.
Revisiting it. I'm glad that I recommended this because I feel like there's a lot to dig into.
Yeah.
But your thoughts, your experience with Scanners. Had you seen this before? You said you hadn't.
I hadn't. There's a Kiefer Sutherland movie that I get this confused with.
Yeah.
But I've seen love the poster art for this thing. I was actually looking at like what it would cost to get a John Wick 3 poster of it. I love the poster art. Had seen that before. Always thought I was like, oh, this is gonna be incredibly violent, and there's a lot of violence in it, but it's not gratuitous.
Yeah, it's not like a slasher or like a grindhouse movie.
No,
anything.
that's kind of, and I don't know what I was expecting. Like honestly, going into it, the only thing I'd seen is the poster,
Yeah.
right? And from Freaky Tales, a little bit of a, all right, kind of like I see what's going on.
Yeah, that's why I recommended it, because Freaky Tales does pay homage to scanners.
The whole Cytopics thing is like homage. Like they're all scanners essentially.
Yeah.
And that's what he's teaching them how to do.
Pretty much.
But not necessarily to the sense of accessing the mind and being able to read thoughts, but maybe more so of use your body in more of a metaphysical way, almost like transport it.
Like
you
you kind of you have control of your physical space through these like mental exercises that we're gonna sell to you through like these as seen on TV ad spaces.
So in scanners, I've now a little bit familiar with it. I was surprised. It's what I was thinking last night watching it was like, I really just appreciate original stories.
Mm-hmm.
This is such an original story. Now, to some extent, because I guess this is from Naked Lunch, William S. Burroughs' Naked Lunch.
Which is a movie that David Cronenberg would later adapt and direct.
Yeah, so this was a chapter in it, and they weren't, I don't think they were called scanners in the book, but there was some sort of source material that he took this from.
Mm-hmm.
But I really appreciated the story, and I thought it was very original. And it's hard sometimes going back into the 80s action elements of being like, oh yeah, like they were on the streets where it's not necessarily guerrilla filmmaking, but we're not just going to be in studio sets with it, so it's you get what you get, but there's concept, the backstory, some of the exposition and the buildup of these huge corporations like Oxalith, Biocarbon Amalgamate.
Yeah,
I think was the one. But I really I'm looking at the marketing, their the branding of it. It was like a beaker, and like a right, and I'm like, I don't know who the fuck made that, but that is so well done.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm always gonna see that image. So a lot of creativity behind it. And Cronenberg, it feels very much like he didn't mail this one in trying to make it.
No, I think he's on record as saying that it was one of the hardest movies he's ever made.
So they had to he had to write the movie, like continue doing rewrites or writing it as the film was going on, because they cut they took off 3 months off the budget. Mm-hmm. So he was writing as they were going along, and they filmed this within 6 weeks.
I was going to say, when they filmed these scenes, they didn't have like an actual script. He just kind of like wrote the story ideas down before they would shoot it and just kind of roll with it more or less. But yeah, that's my understanding of it.
Yeah, so and it really comes off as a tough project, a fun project, and they had someone lined up to remake this film. And they said they weren't going to remake it unless Cronenberg gave the approval to do it. Mm-hmm. And he said no.
Yeah, well, there's like sequels to this, weirdly, that, he has no involvement with whatsoever.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a world I care to explore necessarily.
No,
but
I'm good. I don't know. I don't need more Stephen Lack.
I'm just wondering, like, what more you could explore with this as a concept. Because I feel like he does a pretty good job of, like, covering all sorts of different bases with like the mind reading and like the head exploding, the nervous system stuff, the idea of like, oh, technology can be manipulated too because that has a nervous system, like all these different things that he's touching on that, and we can talk about like whether or not I think some of it might be like a bit detrimental to the storytelling in general. But I just don't know how much more you could get from follow-ups to this movie that wouldn't be feeling like rehashes and just super fucking cheap.
I think it would be more so of just using it's like superheroes. Like I could totally see this being like a Marvel thing, right? Where you've got your
Marvel scanners.
Yeah, you
coming to Disney Plus.
I don't know in terms of this felt like very much like kind of teetering on like drug addiction and mental health issues going on, right?
Yes.
So, in the sense of of like if you're doing sequels, you know, you could explore other realms and other environments. Like I think that it's fruitful enough that, and especially with a little bit more modern technology going on, you could make a storyline from another scanner and be able to hop into it. I thought this one was enthralling though. Like I really loved it. Hey, it's an assassination. We've got two competing huge corporations going at it. There seems to be some sort of corporate espionage going on. Like there's so many different things happening. Now I don't want to say like executed, you know, well done or well, however you want to phrase it, but it's very fun that they have this in the story and being of an 80s product.
Yeah, I think it only serves to like benefit the movie's, you know, time period that it came out to have such a chock filled to the brim concept for this movie and like the way that it's explored. I will admit, and you know, maybe this is something we can go into with like something that we bumped up against. One thing that I think I had not necessarily an issue with, but just like had a hard time reconciling with is that partway through this movie, I would maybe say like 70% of the way through. So like we're getting towards the end. I found myself a little bit impatient with like just how many different things were being introduced over and over again as like not only ideas of like exploring this as a concept in this world, but also the characters and like the relationships and like the implication of the two of them are brothers and their dad is the doctor.
It makes so much more sense knowing that he had to write this stuff before they shot.
It feels very kind of like day of soap opera-y of like we got to figure out to make conflict. Yeah,
I was like, I'm just thinking about you talking about. I was like, oh yeah, like he has no idea where he's going, and this it makes total sense. I did. I really. I think I wasn't ever checking out of this thing. I really liked the story, and it was very fun, and it was so original. But like when he's like, the computer has a nervous system, and so do you. You're gonna access it, and I was like, okay, like come on, like all right, like what are we doing?
It almost feels like a little too bullshitty, and at certain points it kind of is for me. But I don't know. There's still something so fun about like because that specific scene I didn't really have too much of an issue with.
Oh come on!
With like the computer nervous system,
it's not even a thing.
I know it's so silly and dumb, but I don't know. It worked for me. Like the point of no return for me was just like the idea of like them injecting pregnant mothers with ephemeral in order to create new scanners.
I could see. I mean, that's like there's some.
That's sort of where it lost me. Not in terms of like, okay, I don't buy it, but just more in terms of like, do we really need to add like another thing on top of like what's already happening?
He was, the angle that they were going with, and that they didn't get stuck. But it's all right. You have a sociopath in Revok, right? He can do whatever he wants. We have to have an angle here in which he is. He's going after something else as opposed to using his abilities just to take people down, right? So
like what is his goal essentially?
Yeah, and I was down with that. I was like, all right, that makes sense. Like he's getting greedy. He's trying to figure out how to stop the voices, and he wants more money, and he's using the guy over here that doesn't like the doctor, and we got some corporate malfeasance going on, or whatever you want to say. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't mind that. And I've seen that done in other shows. Like there's a Amazon show with some superheroes involved that I believe that they do that in.
The Boys?
So,
when the fuck is that season coming out? Is that coming out soon?
I haven't seen the latest one yet.
It's been like 2 fucking years since
scheduling conflicts, or maybe it's just lost its juice.
Yeah, or maybe like too much wacky shit happens in the real world, so they have to keep rewriting just to like try to make it a satire still.
It. Yeah, right.
Because if they write anything else, it's like, oh, this is just what happens now in real life.
Yeah, this isn't. I'm watching the news now instead of watching a show.
Yeah, a little too sad.
But I know what you're saying though. There's a lot of introductions with a lot of new things happening, and it's almost like we went from like almost like a grounded sense of reality going on, and here's this one thing that they can do, and some people are better than others, and all of a sudden we are now injecting babies and reading computers, and this dad's fucking whoever he wants. Like, what are we? Where is it going? Yeah,
yeah. If we're gonna like continue down the route of like food analogies, to me, it's like this is a really good sandwich that I'm eating, but like once I get to the middle of like eating the sandwich, someone comes up and is like, "Hey, you want some mustard?" And I'm like, I think I'm good on that. And then they just squirt mustard into it. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess there's mustard in my sandwich. I'll keep eating. Yep. And then someone else comes up and is like, hey, you want some jam? And I'm like, I don't know if jam is going to really complement this. Oh, you're putting jam on it. Okay, there it is. Yep, I guess I have no say in this. And it's still a good sandwich, and I enjoyed eating it. Yeah. And like, the experience of this made me glad that I recommended it. But I don't know. It's one of those things that is like, maybe this is a product of the development of what we were talking about, just kind of like Cronenberg off the cuff saying like, what can we do to like really unfold as much as we can this concept.
I don't even know if he is asking that question as opposed to just writing and just being like, I have to do something. Yeah. They shot it in 6 weeks and he was writing the thing while they were shooting it. So you can definitely tell there's not a whole lot of conversation about where the thing's going.
Yeah. I will say, I mean, overall, this movie impressed me in a lot of ways with the effects, the just the overall tone and mood, the music. I thought was really fucking good. The music might be one of my favorite parts of it.
Yeah, same here. Because
Howard Shore, shout out to Howard Shore.
Jasmine had it on before she was going to, or I had it on before she was going to bed, and she was like, "This is making me uneasy." And I was like, that's a good sign. Because he was just laying, he was kind of, people were coming in and he was struggling, right? Because he can hear all the voices. Mm-hmm. And they had that really kind of, I don't know.
It's like this droning, gargling kind of, like this warping, just like layered on top of each other sound effects.
Yes. And
it's really effective.
It was. And I was like, good, that's a good sign. Because I really like that about the thing. I mean, there's an uneasiness with everything that's going on. And that just added to it, which is always great.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, one other thing I really like about this is the production design. Just like the sets and like the location shooting, like from like the warehouse to the office buildings and the art gallery. Yeah. The one thing that I kind of remembered from when I first watched this with my friends was him going to the cabin where the artist was.
Yeah.
And
thinking about how cool that loft is.
Yeah, that loft and like that giant head sculpture that they sit in.
That you can relax in.
Yeah, I know. That was very memorable for me, at least on like a surface level.
Yeah.
Even, pulling this from fucking like 6 or 7 years ago, 8 years ago now. And then the attack scene when they come in with the guns and they shoot it up and they kill the artist guy. I forget his name.
Ben?
I think so. I thought it started with a B.
Yeah.
But that was like the only thing that I retained from my first viewing of this. At all. I think that there is a lot to be said about this movie that's very impressive. There's one major thing that drags it down, and I think you're going to agree with me because I think we teased it earlier.
Is it someone's acting?
It is someone's acting, one specific individual, and I don't mean to be rude, but
yeah, we do.
This movie is hinged on the character of Cameron Vale, played by Stephen Lack, and at first, I was wondering if there was a purposeful spaciness going on with the performance when the character's first introduced. Obviously, he's a homeless individual. He's
schizophrenic.
He's out of his wits. He's mentally ill. He's dealing with this idea of being a scanner for the first time. He doesn't know what it is. So it's like, okay, there's like some forgiveness I can give for this.
You didn't even fucking register that, though. Like, you posed that to me, and I'm like, that'd rock my world.
But then
did you ever have that sense that he was like, whoa?
No, I mean, the way I read it in like the forgiving lens was more so just like him slowly coming to terms with something that he doesn't understand. But then you get more scenes with him where he's more in control and he's like, becoming the lead of the movie and like it's hinging on him and he's like trying to figure these things out and he's having scenes of dialogue with people and it's like, oh no, it's just becoming more and more obvious that this guy can't act.
So I had a weird relationship with watching this thing because
Uh-huh.
no, he can't act, but I thought his facial acting was very good.
I told someone today at work that the only reason I think he got this part was just the way he can express his eyes.
Yes, like I was like, man, like when he's doing the scanning stuff and when he's kind of like Ironside sucked. Like Ironside doing his whole thing, I was like, man, you're not good at trying to convey that you're reading someone's mind. Like watching Stephen Lack do that, I was like, I believe that he's doing this.
They almost had like the opposite kind of issue, right?
yeah,
Where
because
like
Ironside's like a good actor.
Ironside's a good actor and he's like effectively creepy and menacing.
Yeah.
And Stephen Lack just cannot sell me on anything that he's doing in terms of dialogue.
So at first I was like, oh, okay, great. Like we're just gonna deal with this guy that does all these facial expressions, right? That's the beginning of the film because he doesn't really talk.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple things like we mentioned, like there's like what's going on in terms of this ability and being able to scan people, right? So is like you said, he's kind of slowly coming to terms with stuff. I'm like, all right, maybe he's like it's mentally ill. And then when they do the yoga thing, and he goes, "You were right, doctor. It was easy." I was like, all right, this is not good. Like,
Yeah.
this is the guy leading this guy. Like maybe I'm here for Kim Obrist. Do you know where Kim Obrist is at?
For the first couple of lines that he says total, you can maybe trick yourself into thinking like, oh, he's doing this because of the way that, his scanning ability is or whatever.
And you don't know him. Like we're discovering with him, right? So he could anything he did would have been like, all right, I know your motivation.
And the more he talked, the more you realize like, oh, this guy is not confident in anything he's saying on screen whatsoever.
No.
It feels, and I mean this in a way that isn't a shot at Neil Breen. It feels like he is pulled right out of Fateful Findings with the way that he's delivering his lines.
This isn't a shot at Neil Breen.
Listen,
Jesus Christ.
my king. He's able to make very specific types of movies that are in that oeuvre. But anything outside of that it gets a little shaky. And this guy feels like he escaped from the set of Double Down.
Oh, he did. Dude. Oh my. What do you mean he's our father? We got to the end, and I'm like, what's really funny too is I get done with this thing. I have to look up what this guy's been in.
He hasn't been in much.
No, nothing. So I had this epiphany too, and you can tell me if you think I'm wrong. There's not a lot of conversation pieces where they're sitting back and forth having dialogue.
Yeah.
And like a continuous take, right? A lot of it's over the shoulder or cut in between. And I'm like, he might be so bad
that they had to cut around him.
That like Ironside's like, I'm not doing this with him. Like take mine and then whatever you get out of him, you get out of him. Because the ending scene, they're both going at it, right? It's either Ironside delivering a bunch of monologue and them kind of tracking him around, or they're back and forth with cuts. And I was like, and I was already like, this guy sucks. By the time that they had gotten to the bottom of the basement of the entertainment shop after the bus crashes, and he's like, "No, Kim, you're coming with me."
Yeah,
I was done with him, right? And now I'm like, how did he get into this? What's going on? Why is Stephen Lack leading this movie? And you get to the end of it, I'm fairly certain that he was that bad that they're like, just cut it, get his takes, I'll give you mine, film me when I'm going, and that's it. Like, I'm not fucking putting up with him.
It really doesn't help too that he is most of the time acting besides this performer who is more or less kind of like trying to go for the same types of like emotions and feelings and
Kim?
Yeah, with Kim.
Yeah.
And Jennifer O'Neill, being a much better actress, is someone who is able to convey those emotions in a way that's like, okay, I can buy that you're like either apprehensive or you're unsure or you're like creeped out by this stuff. Like, very kind of like hard to portray uneasy feelings on screen that like he just feels like he's drowning in when he's trying to, match that type of energy. She does a lot more with so much less.
Yeah, I mean, she's very convincing that you're like, all right, like she's a pacifist. She wants to use these, like, one mind, one body, right?
Yeah.
She doesn't want to use these powers for bad, and she's kind of seeing some of the dark side of the world. Where He looks like a fucking like a baby fawn, just stumbling through the woods.
Yeah.
Right, kind of figuring out the footing, but it's not very steady, and it's hitting trees, and you're like, I might get there. I don't know, And every once in a while, there's a bout of confidence, and you're like, it's got it, And then it tumbles, and you're like, Yeah, he never looked sure. I mean, it was literally monotone the whole time, and it kind of just felt like he had like one mission, and he wasn't even sure if that mission was going to happen.
Yeah.
I found Revok. He's at the biocarbon amalgamate. I'm coming back. Okay, thanks,
Yeah.
Steven.
Luckily, I mean, the premise and the way it's executed and the sort of like obviously depictions of these high concept sort of sci-fi elements do a lot of the heavy lifting in this movie.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it's not like this movie is shouldered on his performance necessarily. But I mean,
No.
it helps if it's, a million times better.
If you get a competent actor in there, man, this thing would be like I mean, it's on Criterion's movie collection.
Yes.
I think I saw that. Yeah, I think it'd have a little. I gotta imagine there's a little bit of a cult following with this thing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Probably just because of the sci-fi elements, and it was, I mean, very original. I would assume.
Yeah, and like
around
the
this
use
time.
of like the practical effects. And
Yeah.
the concept being explored in a way that is just inherently interesting in so many different facets.
Yes.
I mean, the scene in which Revok takes control of the two cop cars while
Yeah.
he's being taken away. Probably one of my favorite scenes of the movie, honestly. Like when he causes the one car to crash and,
Yeah.
they all get out and like their guy shoots the other two cops and then shoots himself because
It's-
Revok takes control.
And-
All very effectively communicated without like getting too, I guess, experimental with the filmmaking. We're not getting into his head or like getting his perspective.
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah.
we're not
yeah.
going for like these super like superfluous stylistic things. It's just like, okay, this is like effective bare bones
Yes.
practical filmmaking.
Yeah, there's no, and we don't need to give the exposition with the guy holding the gun saying, Revok, you've done this and this.
I can't control my hand.
Yeah. Oh my God, what am I doing? Like it's very, it takes off and it really doesn't hold back and say, hey, like you're gonna know everything that's happening. Like you're gonna kind of explore as we explore, which like I wish more films did that.
Yeah.
Like you'll figure things out when we figure things out, not necessarily. Oh my God, like you said, like if that was made today, a guy would be looking at the screen, breaking the fourth wall, being like, I'm not stopping myself. I literally can't. This is not suicide. He has and then him going like, yes, I can control your gun.
If it was made today, he would be saying something like, oh no, I don't want to unalive myself.
Yeah.
Because people are fucking afraid to say the actual thing nowadays for ad revenue. That was a little small rant that I had.
There you
Sorry.
go. Good small rant.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know. Did you have like a favorite moment or like effect or something that like really stood out to you in this movie that was like, damn, that was fucking cool? Because a lot of people point to the, and I think this was like shown just as a teaser in its own right. The reason why we watched it back in like
The table read.
The table read.
Yeah.
And
No, that was good.
yeah.
That was that was a fun like flip of the switch. Like I could imagine being in a movie theater in 1980 and having me like, whoa.
I guess from what I read, that scene was originally going to be the opening of the movie.
Oh.
And then it would cut to Cameron Vale's stuff.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how that would have worked structurally, because you get the idea of like, oh, this guy is a scanner. He can make people's heads explode. And then you get to the scene where Cameron is, staring at that old lady and she starts having a reaction.
Like you know that so that happens and then you're watching him. I thought he was going to make her explode in that mall.
Right. Well, that's what I'm wondering is like,
Yeah.
would people have that association stronger if the head explosion scene came
so
first?
then now that we have you're looking at it going like, I don't know that he can make people explode. And now I didn't expect that guy's head to blow. I'm not lying. That happened. And as soon as it happened, I was like, oh, I thought that was the ending scene, right? I was like, this is a grand finale.
Yeah.
And when it happened, I was like, whoa.
No, they get it out of the way pretty quick.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. And so I think it'd be almost, it would be. It just depends on what type of tension you're trying to build, right? Like if you show it at the beginning, now with the camera in the mall, there's a little bit more tension on will he do this, or if you go the route they did, you don't think that anything bad's gonna happen, right? And all of a sudden, I mean, that fucking happened. It's jarring.
It's very jarring. I like the way it's I like the performance from the guy whose head explodes. I thought he sold it pretty damn well.
Savalas,
the panicky, like, oh god, I don't, what's happening?
I'm not
what's
in
happening?
control right now.
Yeah, I'm not the scanner in this situation. Oh no.
Yeah, it was wild because I was like, you don't know where the movie's going. Like it's just like, hey, we're at Consect and I'm going to show you guys, right? I really liked how it was breadcrumbs. They throw out breadcrumbs and they don't go, here at Consect we make ephemeral, right? And it helps with like none of that. Like I think he just gets up there and he's like, I'm going to show you guys today what it means to scan. Scanning is when, and it's like very bare bones on just the explanation of what it means. And he goes, can I have some test subjects here just so we can show you kind of the program we've been working with? And it's always like one step into the next thing.
Yep. So apparently, special effects supervisor Gary Zeller, when they were trying to film that scene, they were using these kind of remote explosive things that weren't working. And so Gary Zeller said, all right, everybody leave the room, keep the camera rolling. Oh. And then he got a shotgun and crouched behind the dummy and then
really?
Shot it. And then that's the version that we see in the movie.
Oh, wow. That makes
because it wasn't getting the explosion effect that they were wanting it to.
Sure. It's like a,
yeah, it was something. Yeah, it wouldn't have been nearly as effective.
Yeah,
so he
both
was
eyes popped out, and that's it.
All right, everybody, get out!
I like that old Gary with some Marlboro Reds back there, a shotgun, just keep the camera going.
Hey, man, that's how they did it. There was something that I read about, a car accident or something that took place that killed a couple people.
Oh, really?
Yeah, let me see if I can find it, because it was something that I was like, oh, damn, I should make sure to mention this, and now I don't remember the exact particulars of this.
Well, you tried.
Okay, I found it. Cronenberg stated that the first day was the most disastrous shooting day I've ever had, as there was nothing to shoot, and blah, 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 blah. Apparently, a distracted truck driver watching the film crew hit a car, killing 2 women inside.
Oh, God.
So it didn't have really much to do with the actual movie or the on-set activities, but just someone who was distracted by them being there.
Yeah.
It was like, what are they doing over there? And then
movie.
2 people died. So that's what I wanted to bring up. So
yeah. And that is prayers to the families. Doing as much as everyone
thoughts and
else.
Prayers.
Doing as much as everyone else does. Yeah, no, I'm sitting here trying to go back for my favorite part about the whole thing is just the story.
Yeah,
I appreciated the shit out of the story, and that it kind of felt like I don't know, a little bit. It kind of reminded me of Austin Powers, especially when they get to biocarbon amalgamate.
It does feel like a sort of espionage thriller.
It definitely is an espionage thriller. It's with assassins. It's
hidden within the genre of sci-fi body horror.
Yeah, that's what I like that, and it. But for them to be able to keep it up, right? There were some times where I kind of teetered away from it.
Yeah,
Well,
I was wondering what exactly and maybe it's just me digging too much to find a metaphor that isn't there. But I wondered how much of this was about marginalized people.
Yeah.
And the idea of this group of people who are being persecuted because of, how they're born, essentially. Right. And it's more so just the power dynamics of good and evil, and how that it's kind of similar to 28 years later in that way, Bone Temple.
Yeah.
It's
that's
the powers that are depicted in this, the absolute worst and the absolute good, I guess.
Kind of. I don't know.
Maybe not absolute
Cameron
good.
Vale is not.
No. Maybe that's going too far.
Well,
but.
I mean, I Yeah, I felt like he might have been trying to touch on like mental illness or drug addiction. Like,
Yeah,
there's a lot of
yeah,
needles, and there's like times
Absolutely.
where it's I have to heal myself, so like let me shoot myself up, But like at the end of the day, yeah, a little bit with marginalization. Outside of that, I think it's hard to. I think it's just a really fun story, and they're like. Let's take a very unique concept and let's say, hey, like, what if they were kind of more like superheroes?
Yeah.
And what could you do with it? Because it runs away on them by the end of it. But I like the corporate espionage aspect and the fact that all this was, getting to the bottom dollar.
What did you think of that final scene, the confrontation between our protagonist and the antagonist, Vale versus Revok?
Yeah, we get to.
That's really where like the body horror of it kind of comes in.
Yep,
it's like their face off, literally face off.
Literally, yeah,
because they're just looking at each other with intense faces.
It's oh my god. So much to unpack because I was very upset with the computer thing going on, and then he just kind of figures out where Revok's at, right? Like I honestly right now I can't remember how he made it to his office. Oh, they caught him, right, and drugged him, and then he woke up in the office.
Yeah, which is funny because the way he wakes up, it's like it's just kind of lightly placed on this couch.
Yeah,
you could think he would wake up to like
yeah. No, just here we are, and he's like talking with them. I liked Ironside. I liked the getup of Ironside, and I liked his charisma and how he's just delivering lines. I didn't take. So unlike you, I just said, I'm going to neglect that this is not Darth Vader. I was like, I'm just going to go. It's the metaphorical dad out of all this, since he sent, he helped shape me into who I am now. He shaped you into who you are now. I know they were trying to go for the, the sperm and egg side of things, but I was like, fuck it. I'm not believing it. I'm just going to sit with like.
Just going to retcon that right now.
Yeah. I'm going with, it was Dr. Ruth, and he essentially guided us into who we are now. And so that is where it's going. And then they get into the battle. And, once again, I liked Cameron Vale's ability to do his facial expressions, and Michael Ironside I was very annoyed with. So, like, that's why I said it's just a weird dynamic, because I'm like, God, Ironside's not talking and he sucks. And then this guy isn't talking and he rules.
It's also like a scene that I think verges on going a little too long, especially with the way it's edited, where it literally just cuts between the two different camera angles.
It's tough for them, right? Like you guys are just going to grunt and stare at each other.
Right. And like, really, how much can you differentiate that within the filmmaking itself? But it does get a little long in the tooth for me personally.
Yeah, I didn't rub up against it. Or bump up against it. Like what are you gonna do? You can't make it any shorter, because then it loses kind of the. I mean, it is the build up to this scene.
Sure.
And like, if you say it out loud, hey, you're gonna do a psychic battle with another individual, like, either you better get fucking creative with it, or you better have really two good actors going at it. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, I don't know what else to do, because if they cut it any shorter, I'm like, nah, I'm not. This is.
I mean, I like what's going on. I like the veins popping out and like the
blood
spurting everywhere.
It's just. They really hinged on the music too, right? Like, wasn't there a score or a swell of the score going on?
Yeah, there's like a crescendo that it's building towards. And then, the moment where Cameron's eyes pop, and it's like, oh, geez, what's happening here? And like Revok's got like the whites of his eyes just, glowing away.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, they get to that point where he's like, he's gone Super Saiyan,
Yeah.
And it's like he's destroying Cameron, and I'm like, I don't know how this is going to end. Like, I don't know how it's going to all culminate.
And then, you get this scene where, like, something happens, and Kim enters the room, and it's revealed that Cameron has basically possessed Revok's body.
Yeah.
And it's like, Kim, it's me. And he's, like, hidden behind this coat, and he reveals himself, and he's got the green eyes. Like, very green, piercing eyes.
Yeah.
That are Cameron's. And an interesting way to end the movie. I'm not entirely sure whether or not it's something I like or am just like, Interesting choice.
I would have, you know what would have made it better for me?
Yeah.
If they didn't do the green eyes. Give
Yeah.
him the voice, take out the eyes, and let it really be a did he or didn't he?
Oh, more ambiguous, kind of like The Thing.
Yes.
Just like, oh, this is something that we can think about a little bit.
Yeah.
Give the audience a little work
How do
to
we know? How can you prove it? What could we go? Like, how much more fan fiction could we get into this thing? And to figure out, you know, like, all right, was it him? Because I had to, I saw it and I was like, all right, I'm not sure what just happened. I was like, I think it's him. And he's got the eyes and he's got the voice, but like, it's a scanner. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
But no, they became the dominant scanner by supplanting his consciousness over Revix. And I was like, oh, okay. Take out the eyes, just have Michael Ironside right there, just with Cameron Vale's voice, and just leave it at that. And then it leaves you into, all right, like, is this another ploy? Because they said that he could absorb the powers of another scanner when he does it, you know? And I'm like, all right, that's the next evolution with all this. You take out another alpha and you gain all that. Like, who knows where the mind goes?
Did you say Alpha? His penis is out?
No, I don't think we saw any of that in this one.
Director's cut. It could happen. Superimpose it.
I was going to say the director's cut is 5 extra minutes with one scene that that was taken out because of the budget.
5 extra minutes? 5 extra inches?
Whoa!
We're talking about alphas here.
Don't talk about Kim like that.
Oh.
She ain't down like that. That's one mind.
No, Kim's a nice lady.
That looked like a giant orgy going on too. Like, I was really laughing, thinking that they were having a scanner orgy as they were in the room with the lights going.
With the circle.
This is scary. This is intimidating. We are one mind, one body. I am frightened.
I mean,
You are
maybe they
frightened.
were. Maybe they were having a mind orgy.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
I was getting really tickled just thinking about that.
I love when the
They're
two
mind
dudes
banging.
the two dudes come in with guns and just fucking blow the people away, and like everyone's still sitting.
Yeah, that's what I was like. There were moments in this thing. I'm like, all right, they can do whatever they want to these people. How are anyone? I guess that's what was frustrating. How is anyone running up to them with a gun, thinking like, "Oh, I got this"?
Yeah.
Right. Like,
I'm just gonna blast the fuck out of
yeah,
them.
like,
Boom,
we
boom.
got them.
Yeah, they get like a couple of them.
And I'm gonna have some dialogue with them before I kill them because
And
they
then-
totally can't read my mind.
Don't they catch on fire? Don't they like light them on fire? Or
She
something?
did. It was a weird thing. Like, they're like, once again, just I don't know what the abilities can do.
Yeah.
She threw them against the wall, and as soon as they hit,
After a certain point, there's like a nebulous quality to it that I'm like, you know, what are the limitations here?
Yeah,
or
like-
is the point that there is no limitation?
that's where I don't. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't like. No, you know, I mean, like, you got Carrie. Carrie could start fires, or Firestarter could start fire. Like, I don't know. I don't. That's I stopped asking questions. You know, but there were a couple times where I'm like, I'm just gonna take. I gotta take it for granted. They didn't set up the rules of what these people can or can't do.
Yeah, which I think is kind of an effective way of going about it.
It allows you to
I like
read
the
the mind of a
mystery.
computer. It's got the mind of the computer. There's a nervous system. It's all binary ones and twos.
I will say a very simple scene that I was pretty impressed by was the scene where the professor has Vale in the bed, like tied up, and he's like,
Alpha?
5 extra inches. No, what he's got him in this warehouse on like the second floor, and then he has all the people come up, and you think to yourself, oh, all these people are like talking to themselves about like what's going on, and then you
Yeah.
realize like, oh, none of them are talking, and it's just like what's going on in his head, and like the effectiveness of that as like a build up, and like how long it takes before he gives him the ephemeral and calms him down is very effective. I really like that scene.
Yeah, I agree. And as an audience, I mean, you don't really know what's going on, right? And I mean, like you know, Jasmine said, I mean, it made her uneasy. I was like, yeah, this is kind of. I'm like, I don't.
I like the idea of Cronenberg having like 20, 30 people just like
Yeah.
at any given moment in like a recording booth going like, just say some bullshit.
Yeah, that was another. So in Uncut Gems, one of the things that kind of I don't know why, but I pay attention to everyone. Like if it enters my brain, I'm like, I'm gonna listen, right? But in Uncut Gems, like, do you remember they were talking about the Safdies? They actually recorded a lot of dialogue and conversations that they would they put into the film. So like when they went to the jewelry store with Sandler, right? And everyone's in there, and like two people would be having a conversation. They had other people talking, so the freneticness, the chaos of it all, right, and just kind of like how fast everything's moving. You get that sense and that feel. So every once in a while, like when I'm watching movies, I'm always like, oh, I want, like when they're in this place, like, do they drown out the dialogue? Am I gonna? And so in this one, they have all these people, and you just hear, yeah, what are you doing? No, what are you doing? Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like listening to it, I was like, I really respect this, but also I don't think anyone was really saying jack shit. Like it wasn't like, did I leave the stove on? Because it was like, hey, what are we doing here? What are you doing here? I don't know what I'm doing here. Do you know what you're doing here?
At least I'm getting paid for it.
Yeah, like every once in a while, But yeah, it was fun. I mean, it set the tone real quick. Kind of like what you're getting into with a little bit of the craziness of it all.
Yeah, absolutely. Was there anything else we wanted to discuss with Scanners? Anything that we didn't mention yet? I mean, we could probably dig a little bit more, but I think we touched on a lot of the parts that we wanted to discuss.
Yeah,
so
I'm good on it.
I think I'm good if you're good.
Yeah.
I think you go first with the ratings.
Oh, yeah. Great score. Really liked the story. The practical effects. It very 1980s, which is always a great throwback, but and make it almost feel it's not obviously something that could happen, but they didn't stray away from getting into like absurdity. Right. And I really like the backstory and the build up with some of these corporations. Like I mentioned, the branding, like it might be funny, but like, I think it's tough as hell to come up. I mean, ephemeral is a made up drug. And they said it the first time, and I was like, oh, okay. Like, I wonder is that morphine? And then you find out it's made up, and I was like, wow. Like, that's good. That's very creative, and like you got to get props to it's small stuff like that helps build the story and makes it feel more genuine and real. About the only thing that I really had issues with, outside of it just being dated, a little bit on the absurdity kind of going towards the end of it, which now makes a little bit more sense. And Stephen Lack being pulled off the streets, handed a wad of 20s, and just saying, you're in a film. Like, I don't, that was, and the crazy thing is, too, I really liked him when he wasn't talking. Like I said, his facial mannerisms, expressions.
He's a good physical actor.
And that one thing, hey, you're mind fighting, right?
I liked him in the opening when he's like being chased by the agents. I thought he was good in that one.
A little too like you long in the tooth, as you say.
Yeah,
that one to me was a little long in the tooth.
Sure, but that's more to do with the filmmaking than it is him.
No, him. He's like running around groggy. It's like the same sort of shit. Like I listen, I
didn't mind that.
If you're all right, here's my thing. If you're drug addled, you're gonna get caught within a matter of seconds. Like, you're not escaping that. If you're mentally ill, you're gonna have moments of clarity doing something. At no point did he feel like either way. It just felt like a bumbling guy that was just somehow getting away from stuff. So, and I'm not gonna like, that's not me. Anytime he wasn't talking, he was fine. I'll just say that. Like, I think we could both agree on that.
100,000 million%.
So, anyways, but no, I really like this thing, and I'm glad I got to see it. So, I gave this a solid 8 out of 10.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very good score. So I'm glad I recommended this. I feel like we had a good discussion on it. I was happy to revisit this. Not really remembering much about the first time I watched it. It was pretty much like I watched it for the first time this last viewing. I really like the way this is filmed. I think it's a film that for its age looks pretty good, is effective in its simplicity, but like does quite a bit with its premise. Sometimes I think it expands a little too much and is just a little too chock full for my tastes. But nevertheless, I think that the kind of higher concept of this movie, touching on this like kind of supernatural aspect of like, what is a scanner, and like what is that as like a physical manifestation, like, you know, reading someone's mind, all this stuff. Like, I think that stuff is really cool, just conceptually.
Yeah.
The effects, obviously, I don't need to say too much about that. Really, just kind of a bummer that, like, Stephen Lack. Kind of a bummer that Stephen Lack just prevents this from being great for me.
Yeah.
Like, really just one of those things where, like, God, if you just were, like, locked in a little bit, or, like, even if there was just less dialogue from him, this would sit better in my mind.
If you just talked a little less.
Yeah.
If our lead just didn't have a whole lot of speaking
If you were,
lines.
like, the mysterious, stoic, silent type, then
Yeah.
could maybe get on board. But no, unfortunately, there's, like, just a little bit that prevents this from being great for me. But nevertheless, I had a good time. So this is a solid 7 out of 10 for me.
Nice. Yeah.
Yep. Speaking of solid,
Yeah.
hopefully you get
Got
to make
us.
a solid recommendation.
Yes. Normally I flub the dub on this.
I don't think so.
No. I mean, in terms of like being prepped. So I've got a watch list now that's 440 films long.
Nice. I think I have like 500 or something on mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, there's probably 120 that I actually like. Oh yeah, I want to watch.
Right.
You
Look through it and you're like, am I really going to watch this?
Yeah,
Am I ever going to get around to this?
So my goal is with this stuff, like just going on there, and then I will knock out films at least through the recommendations on here.
I have less than I thought. I have 254.
Nice, yeah, 254. I am almost 200 more than that.
Mm-hmm.
So the film I'm going to recommend. I remember seeing it in Blockbuster and being very confused. I remember 5 years ago when I added it to my watch list being very confused. Thought it was a video game. I am still confused. But I've now heard other people talk about how this is a great film, a film that you need to check out. And I've had it on there, like I said, for 5 years now. And I said, you know what? Like, we're just going to do it. I'm going to rip the Band-Aid. I'm sure something's going to happen. I have no idea what to expect with this thing. Know very little about it, but yeah, it was one of the films that's almost like and it's not the Candyman, but I remember when the Candyman came out in the 90s being like, I don't know what this thing is. It's like a horror film. I don't know, right? I thought it was the same thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We'll find out. So it is called I want to make sure I read off the whole title correctly here because I know bits. Ghost Dog: The Way of the Samurai.
All right.
So before you look at that, what do you
Okay.
think the movie is?
Okay. So I haven't typed it in too much, so I hadn't seen anything.
Okay.
Ghost Dog: Spirit of the Samurai? Is that what it's called?
Ghost Dog, the Way of the Samurai.
The Way of the Samurai. Okay. Ghost Dog: The Way of the Samurai.
Yep.
I mean, the title has a specificity to it that I can't help but picture a certain thing. Literally a ghost dog who is a samurai.
Okay.
But I have a feeling that that's not quite it.
If that's what I mean, just go off with whatever you don't have to guess it right. I'm telling you. So you haven't seen anything? The only thing I had seen was the poster, and I read that when I was like 11 years old.
Uh-huh.
Right? So I'd seen the poster and I read the title and I go, that doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. So you are going off a dog that is a samurai, a ghost dog that's a samurai.
reading the title quite literally, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Shit, can I look it up now?
Yeah. That's why I want to hear this. This is very genuine because I'm reliving my confusion with this thing.
Ghost Dog: The Way of the Samurai, directed by Jim Jarmusch, 1999.
Don't read the synopsis. Just have you seen a poster?
Oh wait, I've seen this poster before.
Yeah.
And it's funny that I think we mentioned Forrest Whitaker earlier.
Yeah, that's
yeah. Okay.
confusing, right?
Confusing but intriguing. This is a movie that I recognize very surface level, know almost nothing about it.
Yep.
But it's going on the watch list, and we will watch it, and we will talk about it.
First time now, I mean, mind you too. So what is it, 97, 98 it came out?
99.
99. So young middle school Mac blockbuster, that's in there. You read now, like, let's just say you crop it and just read Ghost Dog: The Way of the Samurai.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way you're thinking a like thugged up Forrest Whitaker holding a shotgun
Yep.
is gonna be on that cover,
right?
So I've never, and ever since then I've been like, this is probably like a really bad B movie.
Mm-hmm.
And to see it's got really good reviews. I've heard
It's got a 4.1 on Letterboxd.
people talk
It's up there.
glowingly about it. I'm like, I don't know what we're getting into. You want to talk about the Bone Temple having a weird fucking meal flavor? Like, this could be the exact same way.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Ghost Dog: The Way of the Samurai, and then we will figure out a movie to pair that up with.
Yes.
Maybe a lot of movies can relate to it in some way. I don't know. Pretty general thing, right? Ghost Dog: Way of the Samurai.
Yeah.
You know,
Is Tom
Can relate
Cruise
to all sorts of
popular at
movies.
all right now?
right? Yeah. So be sure to check that movie out and whatever we decide to pair it with before episode 113. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of the Neon Crew podcast. McLean, how do we sign off on this lovely episode?
Oi, WWTHD.
Bye, everyone. How's that? The Neon Crew podcast is hosted by Kyle Yates and McLean Parker. Kyle, who is myself, also helps to produce, edit, and upload every episode. Our music was composed by Gideon Hunter. Our artwork was created by Lauren Hunter. Thank you so much for listening to our show. Episodes get scheduled to release every 2 weeks. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Follow us on various social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and our YouTube community page for updates and information on upcoming episodes. Want to join the Neon Mafia? Head over to our shop page at etsy.com/shop/the Neon Crew podcast for some quality, comfortable merch.